Save and... Wow, that was fast. We're live.
Yay, hello.
Oh, geez.
Oh my god, on the interwebs again. I just left. But yeah, here we are. Again, with more.
The internet will always reclaim you.
It will. I've never left. Oh, that's the Doom map you were talking about. Okay, that's nice. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's pretty neato. So
developers, the moral is, I know you didn't hear the first part of the conversation. If you ever have a project canceled, you can always turn it into a Doom map.
You can always turn it into a Doom map. Doom is always there for you. It will never disappoint you.
Yeah.
I say that. Maybe they disappoint us with their next game coming up. Oh yeah, the movies. We chose another random movie because that's what we do sometimes, and
it's an appropriate time of year for it.
Yeah, it's almost
2 days
a fifth
ahead of the day. Yeah.
So yeah, good shout by Mark there. Good idea, because I haven't seen this movie in forever, and yeah, I did watch it and I did enjoy it too. I enjoyed the thing we watched again. You need something bad here soon. This is it's getting unbalanced.
Why couldn't we have watched a piece of shit?
Yeah, god damn it. And then we got Arcane coming up. I'm gonna go out of a limb. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be good. So
here's hoping. Yeah, season 1 was honestly better than I remembered it being. I haven't watched it in like 2 years, I guess now at this point. And I marathoned the Blu-ray set in 1 day yesterday.
Nice.
Blocks of 3 episodes. Then I had a little break, and then I'd watch another 3. It was like watching a trilogy of movies almost.
Yeah, because they will be coming out in threes again this time. So, man, I have to. So here's all these your forecasts for the next 3 Forges. They're gonna be the Arcane episodes. Duh. So
we're doing a three episode run on a live airing of a television program.
Yes.
Not
and
live,
I'm actually only coming back
on
the Sunday the coming weekend, so I have to watch them all and be prepped for the Forge before we start. So that's gonna be fun. But I mean, I can watch Arcane 3 episodes, so I'm not mad about that. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, well, and I mean, they're like, I think the runtime on them is like 39 minutes plus the intro and credits, so like it's roughly 90 minutes per block of 3 episodes, maybe a little bit over, but it's like 3 movies.
Exactly, but yeah, that's gonna be the Forge. There's so much content coming to the channel, guys. You're not ready for it. I mean, if you watch the stream just before this one, I just finished my Black Ops campaign and I recorded the rando rant on it, so I'm probably gonna upload this tonight still and just schedule it for tomorrow or something. We'll see. No, not for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be playing Veilguard, so there you go. You're gonna get my cringe stream of that as well.
Not to spoil the rando rant, but I've played 1 mission of Black Ops and just haven't really felt the need to go back to it. Should I continue playing the campaign and finish it, or is it not really worth it?
I wouldn't really recommend it. Some really crazy funny shit happens later on because they kind of the second half feels like they wanted to do a zombie campaign, but then they just made dreams out of it so they can use zombies and monsters.
Oh, I kind of hated when they did that shit in Black Ops 3.
Oh, they did that before?
Well, I mean, the whole like last act of Black Ops 3 I think is like in a simulation or something, and it's you like going through with like the ability to like double jump and wall run and shit, going into like scenes of like World War II battles and stuff, as if you're just like going through a zombies campaign there and like fighting some Nazi zombies and things, and then you have to like stab this big glowing heart. It's like it really seemed like they went off the rails.
Oh yeah, it's the first half feels normal enough. And then I stopped the first stream, came back, did 1 mission, and then the second one was like a crazy dream mission where I basically just did zombies and monsters. And I was like, what is happening? It was quite something.
I've been enjoying Black Ops 6 enough so far. I'm about maybe 3 missions in.
No.
So I actually like that it gets crazy, like you said. That's pretty funny.
Oh, I was
really
laughing my
enjoyed
ass off on the stream today. It's so fucking funny. I was like, couldn't believe it. Oh man. No, you see, JoJo was upset too.
Yeah. She's a Titanfall girl.
Oh god. But yeah, that's happening. I mean, if we have it on Game Pass, you can just go give it a shot. I mean, it's nothing to lose for you.
That is where I was playing it.
That's the only reason why I even consider this doing a stream on this. Like, you know what? I haven't played a campaign since the new Modern Warfare. Let's see what's going on, and I feel like I didn't really miss a lot.
Last one I played was the previous Black Ops, which I did make a video for on Geeks and Gamers, reviewing the campaign, made by the same developer, I believe.
Oh man. But yeah, that's what's been happening today, and I jumped right back on the internet to bring you today with the lovely chaps here as always. The V for Vendetta. That's a movie I haven't seen in a long time, and I really enjoyed it. It was much more mature than I remembered it. I remembered it much more as a bit of a clown movie, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why. I thought it was much more just crazy action stuff. I mean, I've seen it probably as a teen, I would assume. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because there's really only like 2 action scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah, it seems more like a thriller for the most part. And just little
it's political intrigue primarily.
Yeah.
I think.
For me, it has like clown aspects to it still. Like I find a bunch of the execution and performances pretty hammy.
Oh yeah,
at parts.
Particularly the villains.
But I like its political messaging about like fascism, the dangers of it, and that it is the result of people doing nothing and allowing it to happen, and that the idea that people are more powerful than they think, especially in large numbers, because it's like if everybody's protesting a government that is objectively terrible, it's like, what are you going to do? Arrest everyone?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
So I do like what's at the core of it.
So I just saw Quantum Ranger really struggling to get that message through there 3 times. I saw someone, and then that's one. But yeah, that's actually kind of against it. Saw someone complain about this movie being woke because the news guy who helps Eevee dates men and hides a Muslim holy book in this house. Nothing is safe. That's funny to me because this movie's from 2008, 2009 or something.
Yeah, if anything, this was the I guess shade of woke that would have been up against like the Bush era sort of religious right, which ultimately I think it's primarily about just like authoritarianism versus the ability to think what you want, like ultimately, because that's kind of the idea that it's like it's illegal for a Quran to exist in this country. It's like, well, whether or not you think the Quran has anything worth reading in it, it's still kind of fucked up if they'd be like, yeah, if you own one, we're going to put a black bag over your head, drag you away, and probably kill you or use you for experimentation. It's I think like even if you are a very religious person, I don't think you would want to be living under a theocracy like the one presented in this movie. Like I think they're clearly bad.
Yeah, I mean, if there are elements of it that are a bit politically slanted. I mean, like I think there's a bit where it's introducing or talking about John Hurt's character, and it's just like he was a member of the Conservative Party, and then like he turns into like super Hitler. But like its broader message is more about totalitarianism and fascism, which I really appreciate.
Yes. I guess it already counts as the blurbs. I just fucking jumped right in there. I didn't even ask for a thing. We just did it. We're so good at this, guys. Damn.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I often will cite this as being my favorite like superhero movie. That it's like not very superhero-ish for most of it, but I don't know. I think it's got some good stuff, and in addition to some over-the-top cheesy performances from some of the villains, it's also got like I think both Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving's like best
Yeah.
performances. Like they kill
Yeah.
me in this movie.
They do really well. And yeah, this is what is Vertigo DC Comics? I don't think
Vertigo
I've heard of
is
that before.
It's DC's Vertical. Funny to think of it. They're like kind of publishing wing in the late 90s, maybe mid 90s to early 2000s, where they would publish books under there that were like edgier than your typical like DC comic stuff, and they didn't have to exist in like the DC universe. So they I'm trying to think what was some like Sandman, those were Vertigo books. Was Fables? I think Fables might have been Vertigo also. I might be wrong about Fables, but a lot of really good like comic books that people cite as being some of the best ever written that came out of DC were Vertigo books, because that's generally where they'd put the like more high art ones like Watchmen and things like that. Watchmen being written by Alan Moore, who also wrote V for Vendetta. Now, I read the comic for V for Vendetta. I haven't reread it recently, but I do remember this being an instance where I actually thought this movie was a lot better than the actual comic it's based on, but I don't know. I might need to do a reread to be certain of that.
Hellblazer, someone says in
Hellblazer, I believe, was Vertigo as well. Yeah, and that's Constantine.
Ah, okay. We should put that on the list, by the way. Just
Yeah, that would be a good one to throw on the list.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that after the Arcane arc.
yeah. John, go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. One of my favorite things is about this. This isn't my favorite superhero movie, personally. I don't even know if I'd put it in my top 5, but I really think this central relationship between V and Eevee is strong. They're and both roles are really well performed, and it might be my favorite thing that Hugo Weaving has done. I think I actually like his voice performance here and body performance. I'm actually not sure to what degree he was doing all the action and stuff.
I believe it was primarily a mime that was doing the body.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
But I like his performance here, I think, better than his performance as Agent Smith in The Matrix, which I really liked. So, like, this is, like, his voice is just perfect. in this
Yeah,
movie.
worth it.
He really nails it.
Pretty good.
And it kind of, this is the movie that really shows you that, yeah, you can have good acting without the ability for the actor to move their face at all.
Yes. How am I supposed to know what he feels? Like, oh, that's because he's an actor and he can do that. He's pretty good at that.
Yeah, you can hear it in his voice, and like
Yeah.
even though it's kind of two people doing each part, the mime's mannerisms with Hugo Weaving's deliveries were just, they were perfect. Like I was like, this is one of the best characters ever, like in any movie, and it's not one who can use their face to emote at all. It's pretty nuts.
Yes.
I really like the look, too. I love the mask in combination with that sort of goofy haircut, but it works. It really does.
Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Already off to a good start, obviously. But we start the movie with basically telling the audience, that's us, we're the audience. Isn't that crazy? It's like, hey, this whole thing you're about to see, that basically has happened before. Like 400 years ago, there was this guy called Guy Fawkes, right? That's our man. That's our boy with the mask.
Yep.
Well, that the mask is based on, I should say. It's like, well, he said he's gonna blow up the parliament, and he did a little fight, but he was caught, so that did not happen, right? And he gets hung. Or hanged? Wait, what's the right one? My brain is...
Yeah, I
hanged,
don't know
yeah.
about that. I hear people say hanged a lot. But,
Hanged
maybe
is the
it's-
one when in this context, if somebody's
Yeah.
getting executed.
That's actually one of these things that still confuses me as a secondary language, as English. It's like, wait, why are you using that here now? I don't really know why, but I'm just going to remember that that's the case.
I guess it's like specifically hanging as a form of execution almost gets its different context in the language.
With execution, it's hanged, yeah. But if you hang a towel, it's hung. Or if you're hanging out, I hung out with those guys.
Metal thinks Guy Fawkes is hung, huh?
We don't know.
Very
To
well
be fair, we have no
Who
indication
knows,
whether or
maybe.
not he was. Yeah, he might be.
Pictures are hung on the wall, people are hanged to death. Okay. I shall remember that. But yeah, basically just a short history lesson, right? And yeah, it's very similar. But then we get the fiery V. Ooh, fire, Vendetta with V. That's like the letter.
I hadn't watched this in years either. And one of the things that kind of bothered me in the beginning was the pacing of it. It moves very quick, but the whole film is at least consistent about it.
Mm-hmm.
And as it went on, it stopped being an issue. Like I felt like they're just trying to cram a lot within a film's runtime, so
right,
it's fine. It jumps around quite a bit, sometimes a little more than I would want, like with flashbacks and stuff. But overall, it's good.
Indeed. And then we just get a quick introduction to our two main characters, which would be Eevee and V. That's a lot of V's. Actually, he's gonna use a lot of V's here in the next thing. The one thing he's gonna say. But yeah, they're both listening to the telly, which they also say in the movie now. It's funny because I talk to Mauler a lot and do I like the British stuff, right? I just say telly a lot, even though I'm from Germany. It's just a thing that I adapted. It's funny to think of. It's just another, I don't know, person thing when you learn a language. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna use that, and then you confuse people.
What's on the old telly?
What's on the old telly? But yeah, we're listening to the guy on the television. What was his name again? I was kind of hoping the subtitles are...
Prospero?
Prospero, yes.
Prothero? I think. Hold on one sec. I think I might be remembering that slightly wrong. Prothero? Maybe Prothero?
Prothero, Chad says. Sounds right.
Yeah.
It talks about that the former United States is so desperate for medical supplies, I'm just going to read this from the subtitles, that they have allegedly sent several containers filled with wheat and tobacco. A gesture, they said, of goodwill. But yeah, he's...
the United States, too.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, he's basically like, you know what, screw them, we don't like them, it's time for payback for a tea party they threw for us. And he basically says they should just throw all this shit in the water themselves. And he calls it Ass Erica. Ass Erica. That's a very funny play of words there, Mr. Prothero. Good stuff. Ass Erica.
That was a nickname I had for an ex-girlfriend. No, I'm kidding.
And he's like, oh, who's with me? And then the whole audience goes like, yeah. And it's like, oh, you like that? And I think then he goes like actually crazy. USA, ulcered sphincter of Ass Erica. I mean, what else can you say? It's like, goddamn, he did like Americas. And he says that it was a country that had basically everything, and 20 years later, it's the biggest leper colony. And I don't know if he means that as the play of words or literal,
yeah,
because
might be literal.
this world is this universe is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, bioterror is a thing that is not uncommon in this world, apparently.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like, oh, they have godlessness, so everyone is apparently this universe is very big on religion throughout here, and only Christianity you should add, because they don't like the other ones. It doesn't matter which one, they just don't like it.
Even the country's icon, or like the party icon, is like this sort of dual-tiered cross. So they do make it clear that this is like an authoritarian theocracy. Like religion is a pretty key part of the actual governance.
Yeah, because the guy also says like, oh, he tested us and we came through, talking about the big G upstairs.
Everything is like turned up to 11 in this society, and like this propagandist guy is just so overtly racist and crazy. Like,
oh yeah, he's just like
pretty funny.
Immigrants, Muslims, homosexuals, terrorists, like all in one sentence. Like, Jesus. Disease-ridden degenerates. They had to go. It's like, god damn, okay.
It's like, okay, this is what we're doing. I guess I'm not supposed to like this character.
Yeah.
I think the government might be evil.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, your mic is apparently a little quiet.
Yeah, I turned it up a bit. Is this better?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that should work.
It's funny. I was on a stream a couple days ago, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so loud." And I was like, "I flat out, no one ever tells me that. I'm always being told I'm quiet."
Yeah. But yeah, that's how the overall government and I guess like public figures think about stuff. And then we also immediately learn, well, there's curfews. So why? Because that's just how this works here. A yellow coded curfew, which I think just starts at like 6 p.m. or whatever. I don't know. I don't think they ever tell us what the other codes are, but there's a curfew and you're not allowed to be outside unless you are permitted to do so.
I thought the implication might have been that it was not a yellow coded curfew when she was out, and she just happened to be out and it got changed. But I'm not 100% on that. Just this time watching it, that's what it kind of seemed like.
I thought
like,
she.
oh, is it like?
Because I thought she that was on purpose going out because she was about to meet up with Dietrich, right? That was his name.
Yeah. Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
I figure she wouldn't go outside if she was expecting a curfew. So maybe a yellow curfew is a curfew that gets instated when there's some unexpected event out on the streets, and the government is just like, oh, we weren't going to do this yet, but we got to do this right now. And then she's out in the street. She's like, oh, shit. Because I don't see why she would risk going out if it was like a regularly scheduled thing. Because like her character, she starts off as sort of an obedient member of the state. She works for the BTN network.
The evil VPC.
Oh no. But yeah, she's just trying to make her way to the lad, but she gets stopped by some rapey people. Oh no.
Yeah, they were quite rapey.
And gross. They also look gross.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I got some pepper spray. I'm gonna mace you. And it's like, oh, did you threaten us? We're fingermen, which I don't know, like snitches for the state or something, I guess.
Yeah. Is it
well, I think the fingermen they're specifically like the agents. Like I think they're like the higher up, kind of like an SS would be during the other fascist regime.
There's a interesting contrast between the futurism and then the sort of like old cobblestone sort of Britain.
Yeah.
There's a nice aesthetic clash there that is cool.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. It's pretty
the
neat.
Architecture is well chosen as far as like even where they're having this little battle sequence, because it's got a very sort of Jack the Ripper vibe.
Yes. Right.
There are these things in the background I always said, like strength through unity, unity through faith. So if you need any more indications what's going on, just look at the pictures at the back, I guess. But yeah, she's trying to face him. They're like, oh no, we're actually with the government, and if you don't obey, we're just gonna snitch on you, even though you didn't really do anything wrong, and we got we're bricked right now, and we want to get care of that. But then our boy V appears.
The institution is obviously rife with corruption.
Oh yeah,
which is made obvious in this scene, and the I can't remember if you mentioned it, but these two try to assault her.
Yeah,
and that's not cool.
And I think that's the idea of if in the name of safety and security you give up all of your freedoms, what happens when the people who are in charge of your security want to take advantage of you? Like
right.
you have no freedom to go to anyone else. So I guess you're fucked, almost literally in this context.
As long as you serve the state, you can do whatever you want, basically, and you won't get punished for it. So that's just a breeding ground for corruption, obviously.
That's actually the one guy already has his pants unzipped, and he sees V, and he's like, "Oh, god damn it!" and just zips it back up and gets his thing out. I know the way he does it makes me kind of chuckle. He's like, "Oh, god damn it! I was about to get some poontang here." But but not in a good way.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask the question now: is V supposed to have a little bit superhuman strength going on because he just
yes,
yeets
like,
people
very
around?
much so. Yeah, he's like Captain America basically.
Yeah, because I got like the indication that there's something going on with the whole experiment they do on him, but I wasn't entirely sure. But there's like so many things where he punches someone and they go flying. We're like, oh, he has like some kind of thing going on, probably because of the weird, I don't know, stanky juice they put him in.
Even when we get to it, it's like his original 5th of November that happened at like the Lar Hill facility. He was a guy in captivity who managed to blow up the entire facility. So
right,
he's clearly got capabilities beyond those of a normal person.
I can't remember if they gave him some like super serum or whatever, or if it has something to do with the virus that killed everybody. It's like mutated or something, and that's what gave him his powers. There might be something like that.
I think
a little
what
bit unclear.
is that they were doing like kind of very unethical, obviously medical testing at that facility, and in trying to do things that would be able to act as like a miracle cure. It was killing most of the people, but he had an abnormal immune response to it, and it basically made him like ultra strong and very hard to kill.
I quite like that, and like in the development of of the virus that was meant to sort of control everybody, you end up inadvertently creating the one guy who's like super, who tries to undo it all.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Someone in chat just said, I begged several times on Longman's live chat and Metal got 0.01k more subs. Almost there. Stay on target. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Hit that subscribe button.
I don't even remember what he promised over on 10K. The EFAB that he would do at 10k. What was that? Maybe someone just fell over outside. I don't know. Just loud. I mean, yeah, we're gonna do Dark Souls 2, Mauler and I, when I'm over there. Gonna do a hot seat version of that. And then you finally get your Dark Souls 2 thingy. And I think he's gonna give me the footage so I can upload it on my end as well. So if anyone ever wants to watch that, it's actually available, because my and Mauler's Dark Souls 2 playthroughs from back in the day, those are gone. They're lost in time because Twitch never saves the replays for longer than 30 days or something.
Well, I guess they're immortalized a little bit in the H Bomber Guy videos.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 is fucked, right? I mean, I think everybody complains about the hitboxes mainly.
That's one of the issues. You should watch us. You should watch us play it. We're gonna rediscover them all while we play them. It's gonna be a hoot.
Nice.
We're probably gonna be very drunk.
Dual wield and being able to refight bosses, I think, were the only like really good things in Dark Souls 2. Everything else that they changed, I did not like.
To the square, the safety square, yeah.
That encounter design too. It's a lot of like, hey, here we go. Now there's 20 enemies around you. Even though this game isn't really good at handling multiple targets. It's
gonna be a stream for the ages. But yeah, V saves them, as you guys already pointed out. It's like a slasher vibe how he gets them, because the one guy gets like punched into the wall. That's why I immediately start with the superpower thingy, because he cuts off the badge and then just punches him into the wall. That's
I like that about him too. Like, he's not like Batman where he has like more of a code where like he won't kill anybody. Like, he is overtly a killer.
Oh yeah. Which
I think he doesn't really explicitly kill anyone in this scene, but every scene after this, it's like, oh yeah, no, he's not afraid to throw a knife in somebody's chest. He will do that.
No, right. But yeah, he makes a quick work of these guys. He lets one of the guys actually punch him in the face, but he's not faced by that.
Yeah, it's like a metal mask.
Mm-hmm. And then he turns around to Eevee. It's like, hey, I can assure you, I mean you no harm. It's like, who are you? It's like, isn't that a bit stupid to ask someone who's wearing a mask who they are?
Who is but a function of the question what, and what I am is a man in a mask.
Yeah, I'm merely remarking upon the paradox of asking a masked man who he is. And she's like, oh yeah, I get it.
She's like, yeah, you got a point.
Just says, oh, right.
He's a very verbose character. In the real world, one might say, "What's wrong with you, dude?"
Can you just be normal?
And I love that that's exactly her question when he gets to the end of the V speech. It's like, are you like a crazy person?
Are you like a crazy person?
I'm quite sure they would say so.
Right. I forgot
He's
about that, yeah.
aware that people would view him that way. God, let me actually get the full quote with all the V's because I think it's hilarious. I just kept.
I know it by heart because I learned it for a costume a decade ago.
Oh,
and
that's the one
etches
you
up
meant
my
when you
arms
were
right
in
now.
the tweet. I thought you meant like
Yeah.
the. Oh my God. Okay.
I learned it for a Halloween costume. That's it. Like I said, if we get a super chat that asks me to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah,
And I swear I'm not reading it. If I could turn on my camera, I would. I think it's one of those things that it was so difficult to memorize that it just like it etched itself into a long-term storage slot, and I just never forgot it.
this must have been a pain in the ass to write. Like just getting so many words with V in front of it that
Yeah,
make
and
it
I
work.
believe this was not in the comic, and it's one of the things that surprised me the most. I was like, oh, the Wachowskis did this? Fucking hey. Good for them.
One of those scripts where you want a thesaurus next to you for all the V words.
Yeah.
It just keeps. It's probably like 2 or 3 minutes. Just keeps going and going. Just for him to stop to end with, and you can call me V. And it's like, are you like a crazy person? It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was like, well, who are you? I was like, Eve, I'm Eevee. Eevee.
EV.
I also
like he separates the syllables very clearly to make
Yeah.
it sound like it's like, oh yeah, you're
was
the
like-
extra V, in case we need another one.
I was like, I'm a musician of sorts. I was like, oh, what music do you do? It's like, oh, mostly percussion instruments. It's like,
Tonight I will be calling on the entire orchestra.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go up to the view of the Bailey, and he starts conducting to what seems to be nothing because
Yeah.
you can't hear anything. She's like, oh, is this just him doing more like crazy person stuff? Like,
Yeah,
what's up with this?
She looks at us like, okay. It's like, can you hear? It's like, no, not really. And then the second time he asks, it's like, oh, the speakers start going.
And once the brass comes in, it's like, oh, okay, like there actually is music playing. Oh, hey, we got the V speech super chat.
Oh, they did those by 2x. Oh,
Want
well.
me to do this like right away? Told you I could do it on command.
Well, go nuts. We're here.
Voila!
Oh.
In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However valorous a visitation from a bygone vexation, stands vivified and vows to vanquish the venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and both chafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vicious swathes of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it is my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Yay.
Yay.
Did it. Woo.
Nice.
It's honestly really hard to figure out when to breathe.
It's like in a song that just goes on. And I was like, oh, where do I breathe here? And just
So yeah, run-on sentence. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the way to
on.
check it is I probably made like a mistake or two, so I definitely wasn't reading it.
How very vibrant and verbose of you, Vark.
Hey, I just wanted to be able to do it at the party in case anyone asked me to. And
Did someone ask?
yeah, quite a
Yay.
few people actually.
That would be the
I
most.
find it pretty funny that Eevee gets like nearly assaulted by these two creepy guys, and then this third guy comes along that is in a way like crazier than they are. But she goes with him anyway to the rooftop because he's just so charismatic and convincing, and I actually believe it. Like it's you go with it. Like I think depending on how the role was played, you would expect Eevee to be like, no, that's okay. I'm gonna go home. Actually, like, like who would go with this guy?
Well, I guess it's also a little bit intimidating because it says, "Oh, don't worry, we're just gonna do this, and then you'll be home safe." And it's like,
I
oh,
think
is
like
that like a
I think it's the performance that really it makes you understand why she would go, because he does sound like he's telling her the truth. Like when he
Yes.
says, "And you'll return home safely," it's like I feel like I believe him.
Yeah. He's very convincing. Plus, he just dispatched those two other guys, so she
Yeah.
does immediately trust him to a degree.
He just saved her from a real R wording, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I guess this guy's proven himself to be pretty trustworthy at the very least.
no?
Also, he's strong enough that I think she knows that if he didn't want her to leave, she wouldn't be getting away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he dedicates this concerto to Madame Justice, and then the music starts and he blows her up.
Yeah, to the 1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky.
I like the idea of hacking the speaker system, like the fact that those speakers are all out there as sort of a propaganda machine.
The interlink, I
using
think they
that
call it,
to
right?
Blare music.
Yeah,
Right.
Or is that the television?
televisions are connected to it too. Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's a similar system. But the idea of just anytime they need to be able to talk to absolutely everybody, they can.
He did just save it from the graping, and then someone else says, or as I say, save from a folie à deux treatment. Oh no, Joker, no.
Well, I mean,
The
folie à deux
explosions.
does mean madness of two, I believe, and like, I mean,
Yeah, I think
that
there's
would
multiple
be-
English interpretations. I've heard shared madness, but they all sort of are kind of feed into the same sort of idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dieu does directly translate to
Dieu.
two.
Folie
Oh,
à
okay.
deux.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Deux.
The explosions in this are
tomorrow.
Yeah.
the explosions in this all look great. I think they might have done it with miniatures and actually blown them up.
Yeah, I think
If not,
I think the initial one is was it already called VFX back then? I'm actually not sure. When they have the wide shot, then they show the first explosion, but then they do the close up, and then you see like the stones fly towards the camera.
Yeah.
And I think that's a miniature. But yeah, it does look good. I'm not disagreeing.
well, if it was done with miniatures, it would be considered a special effect, but it would probably touched up with VFX at the very least.
Well, I mean the specific first shot when we have the wide shot and the explosion happens, because I think it's VFX, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the miniature is special effects then, yeah, for sure. But yeah,
It's a good looking explosion with
Absolutely,
lots
yeah.
of fireworks that end in like a little V firework.
And then we
It's
go
not
to
little, but
and then we go to our first villain thing, and this is another thing where it's hammed up. You have like the four big shots of the government plus the High Chancellor, I think they call him later on. Like the Chancellor just on a big screen, and the other four just in a completely dark room, sitting in the lights, just leaning forward so you can see their faces. So that's obviously hammed up too. But it's like
The fact that I love that they cast John Hurt in that role, because obviously in the film adaptation of 1984, he was the everyman role. He's the guy who gets stepped on by the state. Yeah.
it's okay, Jojo.
But yeah, the High Chancellor says, "You had 4 hours. You had better have results, Mr. Creedy." And he just leans forwards, like. Then he just is like, Bailey's is in quarantine. All witnesses have been detained, and it's basically like a thing where we can tell it's like, yeah, this government is actually, it's not only crazy against everything, but they're also just really effective. Like they get shit done. They're like threatening. They're threatening.
Yeah, the trains do run on time here.
Yeah.
The irony at the end.
But yeah, basically it goes through all the people and just wants all the information. It's like, oh, there was a recording device found that was wired into the central emergency broadcast system, so now we know how he did it. The whole music. And another thing is like, oh, the DCD was Tchaikovsky, Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture.
1812 Overture, yeah.
And then he immediately says, added to the blacklist. I never want to hear that again.
Yeah.
It's like, god damn.
One of the most beautiful pieces of music ever written, but okay.
I like how the guy even looks a bit weirded out, but it's like, yes, sir. And then that they doubled their sweeps and monitoring the phone surveillance. And they already know, it's like, yeah, there's a high percentage of conversations that are about the explosion. So yeah, this is like a super crazy government that's just listening to everything you say, or almost everything you say. They're like tapped into everything. They do random sweeps. They listen in. We see later they have like, there's cars going around just pointing at houses to listen in what people are saying currently in their living rooms. And they say it's like, oh, we just called it an emergency demolition, and then we put it all on the intel link so everybody knows. So that was not an attack or anything, we're just going to cover it up. It's been covered up. It's an emergency explosion.
And some funny engineers decided to play a bunch of music and put some fireworks in there.
Yeah, they even lined up people who testified against, who can testify against the structural integrity of the building and stuff like that. And then the Prothero needs to talk about the buildings being too dangerous to be kept around, and it's like from an old time, like from a past that we don't want anymore, so just we should probably get rid of them in general. We just get a good look at how they operate when things go down, or like how things go down in general. We get a lot of world building in this in those couple of minutes. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Even making sure it's like, hey, we got some pictures from cameras of the terrorist guy, but the mask makes it impossible to get like retinal identification. It's like, oh, see, you even looked out for that. You're covering all your bases. But they got a picture of the girl, of Eevee. And then we get to see Mr. Finch for the first time. And he's our government guy who is kind of fucked off already. Like, he seems annoyed from the get-go. Like, he's like, oh, God, this sucks, kind of. And he's like...
Yeah, he's not crazy about his position and all this.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, we're working on several leads. Like, anything else? I was like, nope. They located the fireworks. We found traces of explosive used at both sites. And even though they're highly sophisticated, they've been built at home and just with stuff you can buy at every shop everywhere in the British lands. Just saying that. But yeah, the high chancellor doesn't really like any of these people, but it feels like especially Finch. He's like, spare us your professional annotations that they're good bombs, blah, blah, blah. They're irrelevant. Just get me results, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told to turn my volume up again, and I did. Am I destroying anyone's ears, or is this better?
That's good.
Fine by me.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see Finch's face, like, okay, blah, blah, blah. I was like, gentlemen, I want this terrorist found, and I want him to understand what terror really means. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. And then it gets like, England prevails. And it's like, everyone goes like, England prevails. But Finch's like, England prevails, whatever. It's like, he's kind of over it already, it seems like. It's kind of interesting. And then we go to the news station, the BTN. I guess the British television network, I guess is what's it called.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, do you think people will buy this? Like, of course, with the BTN. Our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. That's the government's job. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, and this is where we hear what you said, Mark's like, oh, it seems like the construction workers wanted to give the old girl a grand, albeit improvised send-off.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is kind of would be weird to put it that way, especially with the music, because right after this they blacklist the music.
Yeah, that would be the giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
Jojo.
efficiently fascist system. I mean, if
Yeah.
anybody calls out the news organization, it's just like, well, we're just like the rest of you guys. We're just doing what the government says. Otherwise, they'll fucking kill us. Like,
They could have just left it as BBC. Oh.
political commentary.
Oh my god. But yeah, Eevee actually does work here. She gets a job here. And already there's like a coworker. She's like, I don't believe it. Like, I was like, oh, you went to see Daddy Dietrich, didn't you? It's like, oh, I didn't actually go because of the curfew. And then she has to get some covfefe for the other guys. What else? I think we just see we just see Finch and his partner just going through the surveillance footage. And I was like, well, he wears a Guy Fawkes mask. Why would he do that? He blows up the parliament. And Finch is like, well, it's not too late. He's still got another 16 hours.
Exactly. He's like, hey, look, the day's not over.
Yeah. And he's not completely wrong. And then they get a lead on the girl. They go to her apartment and find an old ID card for the BTV building. I think it is, right? Let's see. Actually,
I believe so, yes.
Actually, oh, they're the BTN building, not BTV. Yeah, it's in a thing. There's like a funny little thing here where the one guy is watching television. It's like Storm something. It's like Storm Saxon. I just find it funny.
Saxon.
Storm Saxon explosion. Boom.
It's like Storm
they're-
Saxon and Laser Girl.
Laser
It's
Lass.
like
Yeah.
a Laser Lass.
All their
yeah.
TV shows are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
But yeah, Eevee gets like something into the I don't know, wherever they change their clothes to all the ladies for the television show, I guess they are. It's like, oh, here, did this, and it's like a box full of masks, or at least one mask. It's like, oh, I don't know what this is for, but I'll figure it out later. Anyway, put this over there.
Honestly, like I would have opened that and immediately left the building.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
okay,
I'm out of here.
bye. I think something comes.
I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I feel like it's not gonna be good.
I ain't gonna have a good time here. Oh, well, I think she actually does leave. I think that she's about to leave, but it's too late already.
Yeah, she tries.
Yeah.
Good instinct.
Yeah, V comes up here, and man, that card is really trigger happy. He goes in there. Who's that? Oh, don't piss me about. You show me ID, or I'll get Storm Saxon on your ass.
Yeah, like he flat out basically cast himself as the guy that he was just watching on the TV, which is actually not all that different than what V does with the Count of Monte Cristo.
Mm. Well, but he's yeah, go ahead.
The visual intentional juxtaposition between like Eevee and V, I think it's a bit on the nose. I think they could have been a bit less subtle or more subtle with that. I mean, because like you'll have shots that mirror each other, where like Eevee's doing a thing and then V's doing a thing, and it's just like, okay, they both have the anarchist spirit or whatever, like
Right.
kind of like the same sort of thing.
wait.
But it's not a big deal.
Yeah. No, I got you though.
And I also, while we're on this elevator bit, I do like that this whole movie has a sort of Matrix-inspired visual flair to it. Like him walking out of the elevator, that's like basically Neo
right.
walking into the lobby, right?
I'm
like,
pretty
it
sure
makes him-
James. Sorry, go
it
ahead.
makes some
I'll
sense,
actually
right?
look this up.
Well, because the Wachowskis wrote the screenplay, but it was directed by somebody who I think worked with the Wachowskis as a producer in some capacity.
So
I don't know
yeah,
if it was The Matrix.
that's what I was about to look up. So it's James McTeague, and he was the second unit and assistant director on The Matrix.
Right.
So
yeah.
he probably shot some of the like smaller scenes just on his own, and this is the one where they're like, okay, you handle directing on this, and we'll just write it.
Yeah. So the not only the visuals but the sound design, I feel very Matrixy, which I quite like. Everything has like a punchiness to it, like cool noises and shit. It's cool.
It was like 6 years after the first Matrix, I believe. Yeah, this is 2005, right? Sounds about right.
I can't remember the year.
2006. But in any case, V is infiltrating the building. He's taking over. He's got a bomb strapped to himself, and he wants some television time. He wants to spread his message. Mr. Finch is also here. He's just trying to get a thing. V also has this device that goes into the door and just locks it up with cement or something inside. That was just kind of a fun little visual, I guess. But yeah, he's he's on the telly he is, and tells everyone, hey, you know, I do understand, you know, security, having like a thing that seems safe, just having like what's the word I'm looking for? A normal day to day. This specific word I'm looking for right now. God damn it. Routine. It was just on screen. I should have just read it. Like a routine every day. It's really nice, but you know, I enjoy them too, he says. But something's not really that good here, isn't it? Like everything is, we have curfews and stuff, and we just do everything they say. They keep us safe, and we should probably rise up against this, because it's just probably just gonna get worse, because there's lots of cruelty, injustice, and you know, you had like free will basically. You could do whatever you want. Now you have to like adhere to all these rules and do whatever they say. Otherwise, they're gonna persecute you, as they do, as we already seen that has happened. And they need to be held accountable. And all I need you to do is, in 1 year from now, just gather up at the Capitol building and Parliament building. And shit's gonna go down. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah. Just be there. That's it.
Yeah, because he's appealing to us like, fear got the best of you. You just feel content with what you got, even though the people are clearly holding you down.
Yep. You kept giving them more and more power to protect you, and now they're the ones you need protection from, and you're scared to do anything about it. But you can.
Right.
Let that hype train roll for a whole year. Hell yeah. And then you see Finch looking at the television. He looks a little intrigued already. He's not like committed yet, obviously, but he's getting down to this case, and he's getting more and more sussed out by everything. But yeah, he's basically going to stand beside me 1 year from now at the outside gates of the Parliament, and we shall give them a 5th of November they will never forget. And if you will, the first domino has been pushed over. That's relevant because that's what he does later on. Which I like. I'm just gonna say it now. He just built that for himself. He's like, I just have nothing better to do. I'll just do a big V.
I laughed at that as well. I'm just like, well, fuck. I guess maybe he's in a position where he's set up everything and now he's just killing time. He's just like, fuck it, I'll just stack dominoes. Because at first I thought, like, doesn't he have something better to do right now? Like, doesn't he have more prep or something? Like, I don't know.
No, he was ahead of schedule. He's like, oh shit, I got a couple of hours. Oh, I found these dominoes. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, like I
Yeah.
guess you could only be working on your plan to, revolutionize the country that you're in for so many hours in the day. You gotta unwind somehow.
Yeah.
For him, it's dominoes.
But yeah, in the meantime, the police peeps, they're trying to get into the room that he's locked off with, I guess, with blowtorches and stuff. And they get in. He used the smoke machines in there, so they have not good vision. And then someone in his getup comes in there, and it just says, "Don't shoot, please don't shoot." Then one policeman obviously just fucking shoots him straight ahead because it is still the police after. Okay, I'm done. But yeah, he just put someone in his getup, and it's like, oh god, they all have his getup. Oh shit, what are we gonna do now? And Finn's like, obviously, it's like, hey, nobody fucking shoot anyone. And obviously, this has been set up earlier because she pushed in the cart with all the masks, so the full getup was in there. There's one guy who's like, there's a bomb in the control booth. You need to do something. And it's like, get anyone not wearing a mask out. So they try to do that, but the real V is obviously still in here, and they are dealing with the bomb. Oh yeah, the one guy goes to. I think it's Finch's partner. It's like Dascom. That was his name. Thank you.
No, wasn't it? Isn't it like the station manager who tries to disarm the bomb?
Is it? Okay, is it? Oh yeah, you're right. That's not his partner. Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, this is probably one of the silliest parts in the movie because he's like, "Do you have any idea how expensive this equipment would be to replace or something?"
Yeah,
like
it's going to
that?
take ages to get this facility back up.
And then he's like, "Yeah, but do you have any idea what you're doing?" And they don't really address that.
Yeah.
It just.
I like that this little beat of like who's the real V is sort of a microcosm for like the whole thing at the end, right? Where it's just like V is, it doesn't matter who he is as an individual, like everyone sort of becomes him in a way. So it foreshadows the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then he beats up all the policemen because they got the wrong one. And
He doesn't just beat him up.
oh yeah, he just fucking murders them.
Yeah, this is where it's like, oh, he's not Batman. Like this guy is not fucking around. He will throw a knife in your brain, man.
And that he wears armor plating, to be clear. He's not just soaking in all the bullets like a sponge. Like
Also true.
Yeah, he's vulnerable, but he has some resistance to pain and getting stabbed and shot sometimes.
And then V is held at gunpoint. Oh no. And he's like, your luck has run out. And V says, I don't think so, because Eevee is right behind him and he fucking pepper sprays the policeman in the face.
And that was Finch's partner.
Right. And
Major or something. I kind of forget his name.
And she gets knocked out. And because V is so horny, he takes her back home. I mean, because he's thankful. What?
I mean, it's a little true.
It's both.
At the end,
it's
he
both.
does admit that he fell in love with her.
Yeah.
That's true, but it also makes total sense that he would take her because they probably will kill her.
Yeah.
The government.
The second, like, unless that we know that cop wasn't dead, but unless he were, like, all he'd have to say is, yeah, she pepper sprayed me and he got away, and she's dead.
So the government, smart as they are, because they do have body cam footage of the policeman, and they use the accidental shooting to just like, oh, we got the terrorist, no worries, we got him. It's like, wow, goddamn. That's rough. But the kid is like, that's bollocks. And she goes in her room. I didn't even notice that before. I'm just gonna put it on screen here. They have a fucking picture of the High Chancellor over their television. Going fucking Kim Jong-un style on the people here. Is that where they have to have a picture on their leader? Was that in China? I don't remember. I think
Oh,
it
I
was.
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mao, you mean like all the pictures
Yeah.
of Mao from
Probably, yeah.
old communist China? Yeah.
Also, I like the nice little touch because they have they call it like the interlink. I'm pretty sure they all have the same brand television. I think it's all JVC televisions.
I mean, whether it's China or North Korea, it's all the
Mm.
same kind of shit. Like these
Same
certain
school of
nations, they
these-
idolize individuals like gods.
Yeah.
They have to occupy every corner of your mind at all times.
It's also why communism tends to not like religion very much, because if you have a god, you won't see them as gods.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, they don't want any ideals beyond just humans that exist.
But yeah, Finch sees sees V on the camera and is like, "Oh, is he considered leaving her?" It's like, "Nah, he's not. He probably took her with him." So for better or worse, she's stuck with him, and that's where we go into V's little hideout, and he's listening to some music because he got a nice little jukebox and lots of books, which are probably all banned by the government, I assume.
I love how over the top the production design is, like with the books sort of stacked everywhere. They're sort of towering and leaning over like it's a Tim Burton movie or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, she gets in there. There's tons of paintings and even the statue of Guy Fawkes just standing there. It's like, yeah, he calls it his gallery, I'm pretty sure.
It is a really nice place.
It's pretty it's pretty baller.
If you wanted to rent that place in the real world, you would be spending like 6 figures a month or something
Yeah.
like that. It would be like 20 grand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big old jukebox
5.
with music. He's just standing in the back. It's so funny because we've talked about this before in other places, be it on, I don't know, EFAB or here or whatever. Like, you know how when, like, a horror movie or whatever, where someone goes up to their friend and just grabs them violently from her, it's like, hey, what are you doing? So we can have a jump scare as the audience. Here he just stands there, she goes around, she's like, oh, you scared me, and just like, oh, my apologies. It's like, you know, like a normal person.
I like that he's just sort of admiring her curiosity of his place, you know, just looking at all his stuff. And instead of like ruining the moment by saying something, he just wants to see her real reaction to her surroundings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he calls it the Shadow Gallery, not the gallery, Shadow Gallery. And then she asks, oh, where did you get all this stuff? It's like, oh, much of it from the vaults of the Ministry of Objectionable Materials. It's like, oh, so you stole it. And he's like, oh, no, I didn't steal it. Stealing implies ownership. You can't steal from the censor. I merely reclaimed them, which is interesting.
Right.
Also, he like has like such a view of things. She's like, oh man, if they find this, God, you gotta be in trouble. He's like, oh, you know, a few bits of art will be the least of my worries if they find this place. And then this is like character stuff I just enjoy. She's like, oh, after what you've done, then she immediately goes like, oh shit, what have I done? Like, I just fucking helped this terrorist guy. Like, I maced the detective.
Yeah, you sure did.
Why did I do that?
Yeah, I like all these scenes in the gallery. They're so good. That relationship works really well between the characters.
Yeah, because she's like, oh man, I must have been out of my mind. And then V just says, is that what you really think, or what they'd want you to think?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah, go
like,
ahead.
it's a tough position she's in,
Oh, yeah.
considering like the world she lives in. It's like I don't know. I think that her whole conflict and how it develops over the course of this movie, I think, is one of the things that makes it quite as good as it is. I think that this is one of the strongest parts of the movie.
Yeah, well, she did what she felt was right, and now she is broken out of the social order somewhat inadvertently, and now she doesn't fit in anywhere, and
Yeah,
she's
she's
kind of
struggling
going
with
through a crisis. It's like, fuck, what do I do now?
Yeah, because she
You know,
says
just
like,
supposed
oh,
to stay here for the rest of my life.
it's like, oh, I gotta leave. It's like, oh, where you gotta go. It's like, oh, I have friends, I can stay there. He's like, that's not gonna work, I'm afraid. Like, they know where you live, they
No.
know where you work, they're just gonna find you and will probably kill you after torturing you,
Yeah,
possibly.
they know precisely who your friends are too, so they would be able to find out where you might be pretty easily.
Yeah.
And a society like this would be riddled with spies and snitches that are willing to sell you out.
Yeah.
for
I mean,
some kind of
in
benefit.
societies like this, like, it's not uncommon that your own family just stitches out you or their closest friends because, you know, they want to be in favor of the government so they don't get fucked over by them.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, oh, you can stay here where it's safe until everything is safe for you to go out. I guess, oh, when's that? Oh, you know, 5th of November next year. It's like, oh, fuck. That's not what I wanted, but it is probably the only safe place she can go to right now.
Yeah, and she's still got kind of an instinct to blame him and think that there must be a reason why the right thing to do is to get away from this person because he's trying to hold you here against your will. Because you just want to believe it's like, oh well, everything's just going to go back to normal if I go back to my life, and it just won't. It wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I know that this sucks to hear, but yeah, you're probably not safe up there at all. Rocky, it's okay.
And then we go back to good old policeman guy. Because now we get a little bit of backstory on Eevee and the family. It's like, anything on the parents? Well, they were interned at Belmarsh. And immediately goes like, oh no. I mean, only by those two things you can already tell, it's like, oh, that's probably going to be a bad place, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, she died in the hunger strike. He died when the military retook the shed. Like, oh. And then that's not the worst of it. Her brother was at St. Mary's, which was the thing that we learn about later. I was like, yeah, it's nothing but bad luck here. We know her
Yeah, I
story,
think
now we
that's
need
our-
his.
That's our first hint at the like bioterror stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like or like of one of the incidents. We don't get a mention of it before that, I believe.
No. They don't even get it. We don't even get a mention from it directly. It's just like, yeah, they were in the shed, St. Mary's, and the I guess like the camp they were sent into. So yeah, just a nice little thing. Just
Pretty
catching.
sure,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure Belmarsh is a real prison. It's the highest security prison in the United Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Not just like a made up place. Yeah.
Belmarsh Prison, London, UK. Open 7 a.m. on Monday if you want to go visit.
Oh, okay.
Why is Belmarsh so famous? Well, tell me your secrets. Is a Category A prison in southeast London, while best known for its high security function holding several prisoners on terrorism-related offenses, it also operates as a local prison. That doesn't sound like a famous thing, that just sounds like a prison. That was less interesting than I thought, that little blurb Google showed me. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, we got a nice little catch up on what they've been up to, what's going on, and we go right back to V, who is making some rather good-looking toast and eggs in there. Makes me a bit hungry.
Yeah.
Does look
Wait,
good,
they call it like egg in a basket or something like that.
Yeah, Dietrich calls it like that later.
Does look good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah, it's basically the night has passed. She slept on it. It's like, oh, I'm sorry for lashing out. I understand what you did for me, and I want you to know that I'm grateful for it. It's like, oh, that's nice. And then she notices his hands. And it looks, I think this might actually be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, very Deadpool.
Yeah, he's like fucked up hands, look burned, and we get to know soon enough. And he
Here
even
you
goes
just
like,
get a nice little hint when she's like, "What happened?" And he just said, "There was a fire."
there was a fire. Yeah. He also says, "Oh, I hope I didn't ruin your appetite." And she's like, "No, I'm starving actually." like, oh, you want some tea with that toast? It's like, yeah, we love it, lovely. Can I have some crumpets, please, too? No.
It's like the first time she's eaten real butter in a very long time.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, where did you get that from? Oh, from the train that goes to the High Chancellor. It's like, you stole from the High Chancellor.
Authoritarianism leads to margarine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, this is delicious. Good.
Next, I guess everybody is eating synthetic ass butter for whatever the government's rationing out to everybody.
Ass butter.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Margarine, like butter-like product from cheap oil.
Butter product. Yeah.
Very specifically butter-like. Margarine is not butter.
Right.
Yeah, she calls him insane. He just says, I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares more is none. And he's like, oh, Macbeth. And I obviously immediately knew that was Macbeth because I'm very smart and well-read. I didn't.
I mean, I've read Macbeth a couple times, and honestly, I didn't get it, and I've seen this movie a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I didn't remember it either.
Okay, Mr. I read it multiple times. Little humble brag there. I caught that.
Hey, no.
Yeah,
Like, it was my favorite Shakespeare play. No, I like Macbeth. Macbeth's good.
Oh, look, I can read.
Cool. You can read? Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, we're right. I guess if English is your second language, Shakespeare might be kind of a pain in the ass.
I think we did a little bit Shakespeare back in school. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, one good thing about Shakespeare things is you can watch a whole bunch of movies that just, like, do that play in its actual script. So, like, I mean, you can experience Shakespeare plays in a whole bunch of different ways. So there are some that go, like, much further in the adaptation sphere, which you probably shouldn't use as a basis for it. But oddly enough, like, if you watch the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, where it's Leonardo DiCaprio and takes place in modern day with, like, guns and shit, they're saying all the same words that are in the book, so yeah.
Right. I quite like how often he speaks in quotes from great plays or literature. Like, it's very appropriate for his character that he would be very well read, and someone who is well read would obviously constantly be observing parallels between that material and things he observes in real life, and then thinking of quotes. Like, it works. It all comes together.
It's also why I found the little scene with the security guard in the television station when he says, like, oh, now, like, if you stop there, I'll get storm stacks in on you. Because it's like, even that guy's doing it a little. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He just doesn't realize how his, like, imagination can take him further.
V also never misses the chance for alliteration. Yeah.
That's true.
And then she asks him, like, oh, did you mean what you were saying? And he just immediately says, every word of it. It's like, oh, so you think blowing up the parliament is going to make this country a better place? And he's like, it's only an opportunity. It's more of a symbol of things. So people can act upon it if they really want to. Because people should not be afraid of governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. It's like, oh. I was like, oh, you make that happen by blowing up a building? The building is a symbol.
Pretty good line.
As is the act of destroying it. Because the symbols are given power by people, and the symbol is meaningless, but with enough people, blowing up a building can change the world.
There is something to be said, too, about telegraphing this attack a year in advance. He's pretty much ensuring that there's not going to be a single human being in that building.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that should not go unnoticed.
Absolutely.
It is not the same to just blow up a building full of people, everybody.
Yeah.
No, but obviously Eevee is skeptical because every time she has seen the world change, it was always for the worse. And then we cut immediately to the television guy, to Prothero.
Oh my god, yeah, in the shower room.
Yeah. I tell you what I know. I know this is not a man. Honestly, kind of jealous of that fucking shower with all the screens in them.
I wish I could be face to face to him for 1 second.
He's a goddamn coward.
This, I think, was around the same time that Ninja Theory made that Devil May Cry game where there was, like, a Bill O'Reilly demon.
Oh,
I remember that.
And I guess, like, even Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising is kind of like that type of character, too. just like
Right.
Do you have a source for
overtly
that?
loud
The
mouth.
source is that I made it the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's from the actual game. I think that's from the Maxor video on it.
Yeah, it's still really funny though.
It's like that's not the
It-
actual quote from the game. I'm pretty sure.
Did
But it's a
did
good
you
quote.
was it you who sent me the clip of the voice actor saying the line?
Yeah,
that
I
way
guess
through?
someone
Yeah.
did like a what's the website called where you can do like video things from people?
Cameo.
Cameo, yeah. So someone made the voice actor actually say
Oh, yeah.
that.
Is there any way we could play that? It's like I'm sure it's not long enough that we'll get claimed. It's really
I
funny.
mean, it's just a couple of seconds long. If you can
bring it up,
repost
we
that
should do
here in the Discord, I'll throw it on screen.
Oh, here. It's in our DMs.
Yeah, throw it here in the group so
Okay,
I don't break the overlay.
and paste.
So yeah, we're talking about the.
There we go.
Source!
Yeah, if you guys have ever played Metal Gear Rising, Senator Armstrong is the final boss of that game, and
Yeah.
on hard difficulty, he is brutally difficult, I must say. But yeah, there's a meme where he's famous for saying a line kind of differently than it goes down in the thing and in the actual game. And Metal sent me the thing that was a cameo of the voice actor delivering it.
Yeah,
As the
funny.
meme.
look at this guy.
Source! My source is I made it the fuck up.
I think it's too low.
I
The
made it
volumes,
the
I think, way
fuck
too low.
up. Yeah, Maxor. But might as well be canon, dude. I believe that would be in the game. That would fit right in. To be honest, it's pretty good stuff. I haven't played.
Anyways, Prothero is a similarly over the top character in this film. Is,
Yeah.
I think to
Yeah.
round back to where we started.
I've tried watching Maxor's videos, but the editing gives me a headache. I suppose I'm too old. It's very frantic editing, but I really enjoy it. I think it's pretty fun. So yeah, he basically just yells at his like producer or something and says, "Oh, the lighting makes my nose look big, and you're a lazy cunt, and everyone on the show find another guy or you're fired." So yeah, he's not very nice. That's what we're trying to do here. And then he he listens to him on the television. I don't know why I didn't notice this while I was watching it.
Profoundly narcissistic.
I don't know why I didn't notice this earlier, but he has 2 televisions in his shower where he can look at himself.
And then I guess
monitor set up in the
the
shower.
the glass in the shower mirrors it so that it doesn't matter what direction he's
Yeah.
in, you can still see it.
So yeah, he listens to himself and he even talks along with himself.
Yeah, he's his own biggest fan.
Yeah. Demagogues or whatever. It just uses all. Yeah, the so-called Viennese accomplice, Eevee Hammond. Demagogue spouting the message of hate. And he's like super into it while he's saying it. It's like, he's like yelling in the shower. It's taking a really hot shower. Like it's steaming in there. But yeah, V is about to give him a visit. It's like, it's a pretty simple story. Good guys win, bad guys lose. As always, England prevails. And he turns around and V is right there. Like he turns off the television and he sees the reflection. He's like, oh my god. It reminds me of the, Smiling Friends meme. Like, nothing matters. It doesn't matter if you die or not. And then Mr. Boss goes there and threatens him. He's like, no, please don't kill me. No.
Yep, just a second with him face to face. That's all he would have needed.
Yeah, and he gets it
Would've
right
given him the
away.
old what for.
And he calls him Commander Prothero. It's like, why did you call me that? Like, oh, that's your old moniker when we first met.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to know you're fucked at this point.
And they're like, yeah, you wore a uniform those days. And we get a little flashback, just a really short one with a couple of frames where we get like some indication what might have happened. Like he was like a commanding officer in some kind of internment camp or whatever you want to call it, or a prison,
A lab.
or a lab, yeah. And
You get a couple frames of V in front of the fire too.
yeah. He's like, it is you. And V just says, the ghost of Christmas past. And then we cut to our boy Finch. It's like, what's up? Oh, we need to take care of this situation, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, the guy is dead. He did a little puke, and he has a rose on his chest.
I particularly like all the dialogue with his takedowns of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever there's a scene where he dispatches someone. Like this, the priest, the woman in the bed, which is a little bit different, but still good in its own way.
What else? Oh yeah, so yeah, they noticed that all the things were taken care of. Like there was no communication to outside possible when he arrived. But we also see in the frame earlier that he uses Eevee's card to get in here. Because like, hey, we got an elevator lock, and take a guess. Like, yep, she's in Deep Inspector. It's like, yep, she might have been used against her will here at this point, actually, because he just he yoinked the card off of her so he can get in there.
I think as much as he wants to be honest with her about stuff, he was like, I can't sacrifice this advantage, and I'm not 100% sure she will let me right now. Tactical decision. Sorry, gotta lie. Or not lie, just not say anything.
And then we cut back to the Shadow Gallery, where V is just having a little fun with the plate armor, or just armor, I guess. Where he's just doing the fight of the Count of Monte Cristo. Eevee is getting woken up by the fight noises. She's like, "Oh shit, we're under attack." It's like, no, I'm just having fun. I guess that's what he does for fun. He's just fencing the armor. Like her face as well. It's like, oh, okay.
And I think also it's like while enacting out a character from a film who inspired him too.
Right.
This might be my favorite scene in the movie. I love that he's just swashbuckling by himself. Like he's very much a kid at heart, I think.
Yeah, he's like a little embarrassed when he's getting seen, but then he's like super into it again. It's like, oh, it gets me every time. That's my best part.
It's a very childlike thing to do, and it just really enriches his character, makes him really likable. I like that.
Yeah, well, it also shows that he's not beyond having fun. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, like my favorite film, The Count of Monte Cristo, with Robert Donat as Edmond Dante. It's not my sword, Mondego, but your past that disarmed you. Which I guess is just taken right from the movie.
I like, it's not just like sword fencing practice either. It's like he pretends like someone kicks him down onto the couch.
Yeah.
He has to jump back up. So, and he sounds like he's struggling, like he's making noises and shit. Like it's well done.
He's like, enacting out the sequence with theatricality.
Yeah.
Just acting out the archetype, of the swashbuckler,
It's like, oh, I've never seen the movie. It's like, ooh, would you like to see it? It's like, yeah, sure. Does it have a happy ending? What does he say? Only like celluloid?
As only celluloid can deliver, I believe.
It's like, okay.
I like that he's seen it a billion times and he's like thrilled to find somebody who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
Can show her.
I need to find someone who hasn't seen Hot Fuzz so I can show them. That'd be
yeah.
Fucking love Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That's my favorite movie. I haven't seen it in a bit. I need to rewatch it actually.
You haven't seen Bad Boys 2.
Then he lists like all the other ones, like none of them. It's like, oh my god. Love Hot Fuzz. No one to watch Hot Fuzz. Stream is cancelled, guys. We're gonna watch Hot Fuzz now.
We're gonna put it off another 2 hours. Come back and talk about Hot Fuzz.
Anyway, we go back to Finch, and it's like, yep, forensics just wrapped. no hair, no prints, no fibers. The guy's like a ghost. He knows what's up. But they found like tons of drugs in in Prothero's apartment. He could have opened his own hospital, I think they say. And then, we got the first informations that make Finch a bit sus about everything that's been going on, I guess. Like, oh, these like it's all legal drugs. Like, it was a major stockholder in, what does it say here? Viadoxic Pharmaceutical, which made him gross and rich. Grossly rich, you know what I mean. Wait, there was something about coincidence. Let me go back here. Yeah, Viadoxic and St. Mary's in less than a week. Coincidence? And then Finch says, when you're at this as long as I've been, you stop believing in coincidences. It's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Seen too many patterns to be like, okay, there's people pulling some strings here.
Yeah. And then we go back to them watching the schmovie. And something I just thought about. It's kind of interesting because we talked about it earlier about how you can tell how V feels even though you can't see his face. I think it's a lot. The lighting does a lot here as well. Because when you see him like here, for example, on the couch, like even though without him doing a lot of moving or anything, you can tell it's like, oh, he's having like a great time right now. Like he's watching his favorite movie with someone who hasn't seen it before. Like this is awesome.
You can see it in how he's sitting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, ooh, this is good.
Yeah, in big part, it's the Kuleshov effect in film. Where like people project emotions onto a face you can't read based on the context around it, based on the juxtaposed shots and the situation, and sometimes it's in the case of this movie, it's not even like head movement; it's the fact that he doesn't move his head at all. Sometimes, like the way he just sort of stares, he holds his stare on Eevee when she says something I think particularly insightful about the film or about her, and he's just sort of like studying her for a second. And it's just like this film often doesn't do that, where it just holds on him silent, just staring. And so when the movie does that, it's like trying to make a point.
Yeah, just a comparison. This one before he kills Prothero, like just as still, it's like, oh, this is threatening. Like just the way he stands there, he's looking down at someone. Like you can tell what's going on. You can keep the helmets on in the other movies, guys. It's fine. Yes. You can do it.
They don't need to all be nanomachines, damn
it. Drives me insane.
There's more nanomachines in Marvel movie helmets than there are in a Hideo Kojima game at this point.
Let me take this helmet off in this active war zone with plasma rifles everywhere or something.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
they
know.
need to see my face.
They need to see my face. God. But yeah, the movie gets interrupted by a news thingy. Uh-oh. And then she learns like, oh, the Prothero guy, he passed away last night. And she's like, she's lying. Because she says it's like a heart failure or something. Yeah, apparent heart failure. It's like, oh, she's lying. It's like, oh, why would you think that? Oh, she blinks a lot when she spreads misinformation, basically.
She has a tell.
And it's like, did you kill him? He just says, would you prefer a lie or the truth? Which is already telling. So, oh no, she asked.
It's already the truth.
Yeah, it's like, yesterday I couldn't find my ID. Did you take it? I was like, would you prefer a lie or the truth? It's like, okay, I already know the answer then.
Considering the totalitarian nature of the society, it's actually not an obvious. It's an interesting question to ask with not an answer that's not necessarily obvious, you know, because like the people within it and the government, they thrive on lies,
right? And
they have for so long that it might actually be preferable to receive a lie, and so it forces Eevee to actually think about it.
Yes. Yeah, she asked like, did you kill him? It's like, yes, I killed him. It's like, oh, okay. I'm upset. You just said you killed Louis Prothero. And then he just says, I might have killed the fingerman that attacked you. I heard no objection. It's like, Oh, what do you mean? It's like violence can be used for good. So what are you talking about? Justice. He doesn't say it like that, but you know. I like the memes. And she's like, oh, I see. And then he goes on to say, it's like, yeah, there's no court in this country for people like Prothero, like all the high people. Like, we got to do something ourselves because they will just get away with everything because they have the resources and connections and everything. So we got to do something like that. If killing people is the right answer, that's always an interesting question to go for or talk about, I guess. Because she asks, are you going to kill more people? And he just says, yes. Like, not even hesitating. It's like, yes, I will. I will definitely kill more people.
His forthrightness about it really balances out the fact that he is just outright killing people.
Yeah.
I like his character, despite all the killing. And he does have a reason. It's not senseless killing. Eventually,
right.
You find out there's a reason for it. Yeah. That is at least understandable.
Then we go back to our officers. We actually go back quite quickly here and there. For some reason, I didn't notice it that as much when I just watched it, but we go back and forth between the Shadow Gallery and this quite often. But it works. Like it's really well paced, I think, for the most part. I think there was only like maybe one or two places where it's like, okay, we can probably get like a couple of minutes away from here, take it off. But overall, I think it's pretty well paced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really had any problem with the pacing in this movie personally.
It is overall quicker than I think I would like. I think I understand they're trying to fit a lot into the length of a film, like a lot of original material from the graphic novel or whatever. But like I was saying before, it is consistent with its pacing, which I really like.
Okay, what are they looking at here? So I think he just his military record, right? He's like in Iraq, Kurdistan, and all the other cities, and then right after they put him in charge of a detention facility at Lar Hill. And his partner says, "Oh, no good deed goes unpunished." It's like, I don't think that's the thing. And then, we actually stay with the inspectors because they go to... actually, what's that guy supposed to be? Just like the archive manager or something? Or record holder or whatever? I don't know. That's probably like a word that applies to that line of work or something. I mean, he still looks like he has military badges and stuff. I'm just... I don't know if there's a specific...
Yeah, I'm not sure what a record keeper would be classified as.
But he's like, oh, Larka, I cannot recall that facility and all the info you want. I also should remind you, we're in the reclamation. Lots of things got taken and lost, and we did as best as we could. Wink, wink. We definitely don't want this information out. Oh wait, he's a major. He's not even archivist. He's just talking Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm just reading the subtitles. This is a matter of some urgency, major. So I guess he's just talking to the major to get access to military record. Oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. They were talking about this military record. And I guess he wants more information on that. Okay, I just connected it in my brain juices. Good stuff. Because they want to know something about this facility and why he might have been put there. And like, yeah, every info he's trying to get out is like, no, that's I'm sure our archive has all the infos you need. And Finch just says like, your records are either deleted, omitted, or missing. It's like, this is like important. We need to know. And then, as I said, it's like he turns like, before you go further, let me remind you, things were very chaotic back then. We did as best as we could, which obviously feels like a cop out. It's like, oh, we all did what we had to do, you know. So there's definitely lots of records we just fucking nuked out of existence because we don't want that to see seen
I
by
wouldn't
anyone.
be able to help but say, do you realize you're talking to an inspector who's supposed to be looking like you're not making this sound just not unsuspicious at
Yeah.
all?
But the thing is, that it probably doesn't need it to be, because if this ever gets brought up to the higher ups, they're just gonna be like, just stop it, Finch, which does happen here in a little bit as well. But yeah, but now it's time for Eevee's own clever ruse, because she's looking at Dietrich's address, and she's thinking, I need to get there somehow. And she tells him, hey, I know you're right, blah, blah, blah. Wait, I think I'm skipping something. So she basically wants to help, and she wants to ask something, but she needs to tell him some things that's going on. It's like, my father was a writer, you would have liked him, she says. And he used to say that artists use lies to tell the truth, while politicians use them to cover up the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see. There's like a little bit of flashback. I just don't want to just recount the subtitles here, but I can't remember what was in there. Just, yeah, when Suttler was appointed High Chancellor, they were so basically they were trying to fight back against that regime with the High Chancellor, because they were sussed out by him just taking over everything and all the power, and then they argued and everything, because her mother wanted to leave the country, but the father refused, saying if they would run away, they would win, like it was a game. And then they get taken away.
And we see that she has first-hand experience with the black bags.
Yes. Yeah, it's just like, it's like those.
Or I guess secondhand.
Yeah, because those black bags erase them from the face of the earth. And
this situation also gets mirrored when
Yes.
she's an adult, and I found that a little silly.
It was
oh my god, under the bed again.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, I think that was on purpose, but I don't know if we needed that.
Yeah.
I found it a
Well,
bit,
I mean, I
bit
guess
jarring.
they're like under the bed. I think maybe wasn't the best call, but at the same time, like the idea of like saying, "Hey, you hide somewhere where they just won't see you here," because they're probably only looking for me in here. They don't know you're here, so
Yeah,
if they just
it's an
take me
effective,
away, they might leave.
it's an effective hiding place. Ultimately, I don't really have a problem with it. It's just the visual repetition of it just struck me as funny.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
But yeah, she basically says, I want to help you. But we already saw this little thing, because she was looking at the address. Like, she probably wants to get out somehow. And that's exactly what she's gonna try to do soon. Back with the Finch boy. He is talking to someone, asking for, hey, we need some records. And the guy says, well, the original electronic records have been nuked out of existence, but we still have this hard copy that we found. He's like, oh, cool, thanks. That's going to help us quite a bit. It's everything they got on Lar Hill. So they can go check that out now. Let's see. Oh, yeah, she offered the help, and he basically says, oh, I do need your help now. I need a little bit of acting prowess. And she says that she's going to do as well as she can, and he says, you will, don't worry. And then they go through all the stuff, the Finch man. They go through the stuff, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. The highest paid person in this camp was a priest. He was getting 200 grand a month. I was like, oh wow, that's some good pay for a priest. And then oh, he's a bishop now, right? Yeah, he got promoted to bishop. Then we cut to him, because we need to get to see him now, and his assistant is like, oh, everything is set up, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, I wasn't really interested in my final remittance. I was talking about my last little joy. And you're like, oh, what shenanigans is he up to? And then the guy says, they sent a new girl who I'm afraid is a little older than usual. I was like, oh no, we're actually going through the PDF file priests here, aren't we? We're going full ham on this too, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it is hilarious with like her in the outfit and the Gregorian chant in the background. Oh my god!
He also
cranked up to 12.
Yeah, he also leaves the cross outside. So if you look here, he just gives it to the guy. It's like, I don't want God to see this.
Here, God sees everything, so might not work out.
Yeah, he's like, oh, great, I guess I have to go look at this other older girl, and he's greeted by Natalie Portman like this.
Yeah, Natalie Portman dressed like she's 12.
Like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing, huh? And he even says, oh, my.
The audience can't hear it, but if you haven't seen this movie, the music that plays over top this is just...
Yeah, it
as
is pretty
as if the outfit wasn't, already pushing it.
Yeah. He's like, "Ooh, confession?" She says, like, I have a confession. Like, obviously she wants to warn him so she can get out of this, because she currently thinks V is a bit insane and doesn't want to be, I guess, with him anymore. It's like, I have to tell you something. It's like, ooh, a confession? I love the confession game. And it's like, oh god, come on.
Yeah, he thinks that everything she is telling him is some kind of weird sex game.
Yeah, tell me your sins. Yeah. It's like, this isn't a game, you Grace. Someone is on the way here and he's gonna kill you. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like, I'm Eevee Hammond, I'm on the run. It's like, wonderful. This is a game I've never played.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in gooning mode. It's just he's got no ability to think about anything other than sex with this girl right now.
I have to keep reminding myself, like, they're in a fucked up society where evil people can feel like they can get away with anything as long as they do what the state tells them to do.
Yeah, and he's like super into it as well. It's like, oh, seems like I captured a dangerous terrorist. Har har har.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she kicks him in the nuts, and then he gets angry.
This leads into one of my favorite V takedowns of somebody. I love the dialogue from him. I love the gunshot. Like, he takes a round to the chest. He's wearing armor plating, so he's fine. But
she wasn't lying. It is you. If V immediately looks over to her, it's like, the fuck. He's like, I'm sorry, I had to. And then she runs away. Yeah, and then he gets shot, but he has like the body armor, of course.
I also like the fact that little beat is there too, where like Eevee sort of turned against him a little bit there, and he's just like, ah, fuck. But he has to deal with, he has to prioritize.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan in general that they don't just make her fall for his plan. Not fall. I mean, she's not like convinced immediately. Just like, oh, you seem like the good guy, and because the script says you're the good guy, I'm gonna believe you immediately. It's like, no, she actually runs away and goes somewhere else for a while before she gets taken by him again.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that's there.
And yeah, now the priest is toast. What does he?
I love the quote have mercy, and he says, "Not tonight, Bishop."
Not tonight.
Yeah,
it's so well delivered. Like, Hugo Weaving just kills it, man.
Not tonight.
The head movements as well, in accordance with that.
Oh, please have mercy. Oh, not tonight, Bishop. Not tonight. Oh yeah, there's also the truck that's just driving around doing like security sweeps or random sweep. And they just hear V's like, open your mouth and stick out your tongue. And the two are like, oh,
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, they think it's the priest saying that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's having his
and
little...
they just hear, please, I don't want to die.
I don't want to die. And then they're like, oh shit, we got a situation.
I like too that you see that, like, when they show the body, you see the little line of blood coming out of his mouth. So you get the impression he did actually cut his tongue off.
It's not a random one. I think the party members are all being watched. That could also be, yeah. But I think the same guys. We see them later. I think. I guess they're just the same truck, and they're listening into someone. But yeah, that. Oh yeah, I think they're watching Creedy later. I think it's the same guys. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong, but I think it was the same guy. So I thought it was like the random guy, but no, that's fair. And yeah, Finch is back here, and he's like, oh, God, great. Well, run all the names we have on him, and we gotta find him. And it's like, oh, pucker up, here comes the finger, he says, and he's talking about Creedy. It's like, get going, I'll handle him. Because Creedy is the big boy here. It's like, what are you doing here? Several prominent party members have been murdered, Chief Inspector. That's why I'm here. But yeah, he's like he's basically the big man who takes care of everything, any means necessary, I guess is the idea. And he basically tells him, well, you've been looking a bit too far into all the things, so you probably want to, stop that, because that's all information you probably don't want to know or should know. And Finch says, oh, am I under surveillance? I was like, well, you should probably cease any investigation of matters that have long since passed, or you're gonna have some trouble. It's like, I've been a member of this party for 27 years. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm just trying to do my job. But yeah, they're not doing themselves a favor by vilifying Finch towards them, because right now he's basically just doing his job. He's just trying to get all the information he can, which includes all the old things, because that should help him in some degree to figure out things that might be connected. But he basically gets told to, no, stop doing that and find the terrorist, which, was all part of the same thing, right? Like he's trying to get information to find connections so he can find the next one and maybe even set a trap or something.
Right.
But yeah, Eevee goes to good old Dietrich. He seems chill. He's just having a big old television show, and it's like, oh man, I'm sorry I got here. I'm gonna get you in so much trouble. He's like, don't worry. You're the least of my problems if they ever come here. If they search my house, that you would be the least of my problems. And it's like, what do you mean? Well, you trusted me, I'll trust you. And then he go to his little back room, which has like all kinds of paintings. Then it's like this thing.
There's a portrait of the Chancellor as like Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. There's like this weird mix of an American British flag with a swastika in the middle. The coalition of the willing to power. Is that a made-up thing of this universe, or was that like a caricature thing that was made at some point?
Well, I think it's supposed to be protest material for the era in which the U.S. and England were getting much more authoritarian.
Oh, okay.
That's how I interpreted it. It's like comparing them to the symbol in the middle there. But
yeah.
Coalition of the Willing, I think, is also what was used to say the group of countries going into Iraq.
Yeah. Yeah, the picture is called God Save the Queen. And she says that her parents actually took her to saw it when it was hung. Yeah, there we have the other hung with the picture. There you go. The reference that was given later. You can have both these things in this movie.
Yeah, hanged and hung.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, I thought Sutler has had it destroyed." And it's like, he believes he did, but I paid a large sum of money to have this here. So yeah, it always cheers me up, he says. And then it's like, oh, that's a copy of the Quran, 14th century. It's like, are you a Muslim? It's like, no, I'm in television. It's like, that's just a really funny line. It's like, why would you?
I don't know what the punishment would be if it was just art that he had, but any kind of religious text in this society is like automatic death penalty.
Yeah, apparently so. I like his line here. It's like, I like his line here. I don't have to be Muslim to find the images beautiful, poetry moving. I guess it just applies for anything, right? It's like I shouldn't be punished to just have this here and check it out, if I just find it interesting, because that's stupid.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
sometimes you might just want to learn what other people's perspectives are based on, and you read it.
Yeah.
But he will also, as pointed out, as Cosmic Vader points out, he will get in the most trouble for being of the gay.
Yeah. And he just starts to explain what's been going on in the background. She sees some gay imagery. Oh my god. He noticed that she sees her.
And he's like, yeah, okay, like, I didn't really want to go on a date with you.
Yes. I do like the cock. You saw that correctly. I was like wondering why you were invited to supper here, if my appetites were for less conventional fare. I like how he phrases these things. He's fun.
He speaks very poetically.
Yeah. And he just basically says, well, a man in my position expected to entertain young, attractive ladies like you. Yeah, because if I
don't go on some dates, people will think I'm definitely gay. And they'd be right, but I can't let them be right, because then I'll get killed.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I would do that, I won't have a home or a TV show anymore. And just like, I'm sorry. And then he's like, not as sorry as I am. It's like, after so many years, you begin to lose more than just your appetite. So yeah, he's kind of over this whole shit with the government as well. He's just trying to uphold his image to, well, survive and keep the riches he has, which, that's a thing that happens. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense. It's funny. It's actually I just remember this because I randomly YouTube pushed me some Blackadder clips again, and I saw the ending scene of the last Blackadder. The Blackadder goes fourth, was it? That's the one with the World War II, right?
Yeah, because it was the 4th season.
Yeah, and that ending scene, man, that fucks you up, dude. I've seen it so many times already. It's so good. Because you have
actually not watched Blackadder.
Oh, you definitely should. That shit is really, really good. Especially Blackadder goes fourth. The way it ends fucks you up. It's really funny, but also really tragic. Because you have this...
The whole show is
put it on the list.
All 4 seasons.
Yeah, because you have this the Darling character who's been kind of been like a little bit of the punching bag because he gives like the commands. But he in this last scene, it becomes like clear, like, yeah, he was just trying to get through this shit alive with the position he has. So, because he's also afraid of dying, It's just, it's good shit. Go watch Blackadder. That shit is amazing, fantastic.
Every season, it takes place in a different time period.
Yeah.
Where it's like the same sort of line of ancestry. Rowan Atkinson plays like sort of the same character in a different generation. It's really well conceived.
Oh, was World War? Yeah, could have been World War One. I always forget which one it is, but I guess it would apply to both wars. I think the message doesn't change.
I think it was World War One. Yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, it's really good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
I shall make my way through it.
Yeah, it's pretty short episodes as well. It's a quick watch per season, but very, very funny. It's
standard UK television format, 6 episodes a season, 22 minutes.
Really good show.
Oh yeah, that is quick.
But yeah,
with some specials too, holiday specials. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Now Eevee is in hiding over there, chilling out with Dietrich, while Finch is talking to the coroner. He's like, "Hey, I know you've been a botanist, and you before you did this, could you check out this rose? Because I just want any information I can. It would be very useful." And it's like, "All right, cool, cheers." It's like, "Oh, just." Then his partner calls him. "Well, you better get back here. I found some more information. We need to check this out." And then they realize, oh shit, he killed everyone that was in the Lar Hill detention center except one person who they don't know who she is right now. Because she took a new identity and everything, and even he says she disappeared for 2 years and then tried to get a visa to get out of the country, which was declined, and then she probably took on a whole nother name.
I wonder if that other name is a character that we have seen recently in this movie.
No. But yeah, he put a call in the registry, but no one is there anymore. It's late or early. He says, "It's like, well, call him again." And we cut back to the coroner lady. So yeah, it's her. Yeah, she takes out a journal. And then we cut back to our guys, like, "Doctor, I understand, and change your name to Delia Surridge." Like, "The coroner?" "Yep." And he's like, "Oh, fucking hell, I just saw her. We need to get there right away."
Yeah, like, I actually know where she is. I
Yeah.
was just with her like a minute ago. And I handed her a rose, which now I'm curious as to why she looked so ominously at it.
Mm-hmm. And we go cut to her, and V is already here. She notices it, and she's like, "Have you come to kill me?" V says yes, and she says, "Oh, thank God."
Thank God, yeah.
They are making their way to her, trying to reach her, but there's a problem with the connection. It's like, oh shit, he's already there, and they have a conversation. Delia and V are just having a conversation. She's very guilt-ridden. Like, she's not happy. That's why she was trying to get away from everything, and she knew that he would come for her at some point. And says, like, I'm actually, like, really sorry. I didn't really know what was going on and how bad it actually is, but I am aware I am the reason why a lot of things there happened.
Yeah, there's this little hint that she's kind of asking for mercy.
Yeah.
But he sort of just immediately says, he's like, "What they did there wouldn't have been impossible without you." He's like, you can't really wash your hands of this one at all. You gotta pay the price for it.
And she says,
but he does give her a merciful death, which is really cool.
Yeah. And he's like, oh,
and then
go ahead.
I guess I don't know if you were about to say it. The last thing that they say to each other, I think, was quite nice.
Let's see. It's like, "Oh, are you going to kill me now?" And it's like, "I killed you 10 minutes ago when you were asleep." It's like, "Is it gonna hurt?" "No." It's like, "Thank you." It's like, "Is there any pain?" "Nope." Yeah, and then...
Yeah,
and then is it meaningless?
He didn't kill the others like that. He
yes,
could have killed the others like that, but he didn't. But
yeah,
this woman is showing enough remorse for what she's done.
Yeah, because she also asks, "Is it meaningless to apologize?" And he just says, "Never."
After he's confirmed that, is like, "Yes, I've killed you. There's nothing I can do to stop it now. You are going to die." And even after that, she says, "Is it meaningless to apologize?" And I like his response to it as well.
Yeah, he says no, and then she says, "I'm so sorry," and then she dies.
Mm-hmm.
Really good scene.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
no matter what you've done and no matter what price you're paying, it's like you can still feel sorry for it. You can apologize. Like it's never too late to say those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she looks really peaceful when they find her. She's just sitting there with the rose in the hand, but the journal is still there, and we cut right back to the High Chancellor and Finch having a conversation. Like, definitely wanted us to find it. It's like, well, did you read the journal? Yes. Did anyone else read the journal? Nope. Then let me make this clear. You better forget everything about this document that you've seen. Don't tell anyone. It's deemed to be a national security risk. And if anyone has this information, it's going to be really bad for the whole country. And it would do you good to forget about the contents of this journal as well. Any discussion is bad, and you will be prosecuted if you would. It will be deemed treason. It's like, you're gonna... That doesn't sit well with Finch because he just read about everything that happened in that center. And it's basically there's like a batch of people that got sent to Lar Hill. They're gonna do all kinds of experiments. She was like very excited even. Like that's what she put in the journals. Like I was very excited to get the first thing. We're gonna make a virus that could kill everyone in the vicinity, but leaving all the wealth of the country intact, meaning no bombs would destroy the infrastructure. So basically could sweep away all the people that live currently in an area that they want and just replace it with their own people and just keep on going without having to rebuild anything. And that's very exciting to her. And then in the flashback we see like Prothero there and the bishop, and she just gets on to experimenting. And she even calls the people the experimenters are. They're so weak and pathetic. They never look you in the eye. She even hates them, you know? Like at this point, she's like fully in there. She's very excited to do all these experiments. Then she goes on to say like 75% of the people just fucking died, so we buried them in the ditch somewhere. But there's one case that continues to give hope, and he's in cell number 5. What is the Roman number for 5?
Kind of looks like a V to me. I don't know.
What? But yeah, the mutation has triggered the abnormal development of... Oh, wait, I was about to read it, but then I clicked it away because I'm very good. Have triggered the abnormal development of basic kinesthesia and reflexes. Is that how you say that? No one corrected me, so I think that was correct.
Yeah.
But also the subject couldn't remember who he was or where he was from. But that person was the key to their dreams, and she hopes that none of this has been in vain. And then, November the 5th. Boom! Explosions! There. Around midnight, again, on the clock. Our boy V, he knows his times, man. Midnight, November the 5th, boom. First explosions to open the entire medical section. Shit's going down, everybody dies. All the work is gone. And when she was...
No more super soldiers.
No more super soldiers, but out of the fires comes out V. And she could tell he was looking at her, but she couldn't even see the eyes anymore. He just does a big yell and goes like, "Ah!"
Now, the one thing I've never been 100% clear on is when she says there were no eyes. I don't know if that means that his eyes were actually burned out and he's doing all this with like Daredevil vision or something.
That's something I was wondering about as well, because when he talks to Finch later, he takes the persona of a blind guy, right? He has like the stick and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
They don't really go into that too much, so we can assume it was just that she couldn't see his eyes, but she still knew that he was looking at her.
Yeah, but yeah, this is what's been going on in Lar Hill, and it ain't great. It wasn't nice, and obviously Finch is not stoked about all of this. But the journal ends with, "What have I done?" Like I guess as soon as shit went bad, she felt remorse. Also, by the way, I think this frame is just... That's what they call a mood. Oh, bottle of whiskey, some takeaway food. Just sitting in a dimmed room is like, fuck this shit. That's me on Mondays. It's like, ugh.
Images you can feel.
Finch has also learned the truth about the false flag that allowed the rise of the current power structure, which is even more dangerous. Yes, absolutely. God, remember when they made good movies? Good times.
Yeah.
But we go back to Dietrich, who is also making the toast, and he even greets Eevee with "Good morning, mademoiselle." But yeah, you're right. They call it "eggy in the basket," and her mum made it. He seems just like a fun bloke, really. It's like, oh, that's weird. It's the first thing he made for me too. And he's like, oh, there's only one answer. I am the guy.
Yeah, I am me.
Like, how does he put it? I'm waiting for the subtitle. I think he
Calls themselves like wrinkled and well fed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, hard to believe, isn't it? That beneath this wrinkled, well-fed exterior lies a dangerous killing machine with a fetish for Faucasian masks. Viva la revolution. That's not funny, Gordon. And he just says,
no, I'm useless to the studio audience.
Useless on the studio audience. Good meme. Good memes. He has good memes. But then he says, of course, he's right. There's something wrong with this country. So yeah, it's fun how we have like a couple of characters that are still in the system and using it to their advantage, but still like realizing like, yeah, this is not really right, is it? Like, nah.
Yeah.
And now we go back to Finch, who has been here the whole time. Oh shit! Just realized in the background. See, I love when I watch stuff, talk about it, and I notice things in the background that is cool. The whiteboard. They've been filling it like the more the movie went on. Like the first time you look at it, it's only like the upper left part. There's like V. So they actually fill this with the things that happened.
It's continuity.
Yeah,
to it.
production
it's
design.
cool.
Love that shit. Good stuff. But yeah, Finch has been here for a long time because he doesn't know he's a bit beefed off, and he puts down I think they call it a debugging device, which I guess
Scrambles wiretaps, I guess.
Yeah.
Microphones in the area so they can speak freely.
Actually, it looks like a competently written whiteboard too, and it's not like, who is V scrawled on the whiteboard with like 3 question marks or something like you see sometimes in movies where it's just like, oh my
I mean,
God,
still for all time, my favorite example is gonna be Black Widow, where they fuck up the tic-tac-toe. It's the I can't believe that happened. They just made a tic-tac-toe game that could not have possibly happened.
You got to think though that what an easy instruction this would be for a good production designer, that if they're saying, okay, this movie takes place over a year, where in this year does this scene in the detective's office take place?
Mm-hmm.
And then saying, okay, write how much they would know at this point on that board.
Yeah.
And next time we do a scene, we'll add a bit more to it because we'll be like, okay, how far are they into it now? And
Yep.
it's like those little things in the background. It's like you're gonna put something on there, so why not have them think about it a little?
Exactly.
Sure. And have it written in a way that law enforcement might actually write something instead of like what I was saying earlier. Like my worst example I can think of is A Quiet Place. I actually like that movie, but like, that whiteboard where it's just like, what is their weakness? Like, oh my God, that's lame.
Like that's not really a question you would need to write in bold. You would be thinking that all the time, right? If you're
Exactly.
researching
You don't need to occupy a third of the fucking whiteboard with a question like that.
I gotta remember what I'm looking for their weakness. That's why we're here, everybody.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But basically, he puts up that debugging device, I think he locks the door and grabs the water. Maybe he just grabs the water, I'm not sure. And he asks him, hey, I'm going to ask you a question, but this question can't leave this office, like, ever, because that's going to be weird if it would be. And he basically asked, like, I want about St. Mary's and Three Waters and everything, because he was going for, like, articles where they show things that people died because of some water infections and stuff, and it's been deemed to be done by religious extremists. And it's like, what do you think that's true? And he's basically like, I mean, yeah, they found them, they executed them, and everything. It's like, yeah, I know, I'm aware, but if I see this chain of events, these coincidences, I have to ask, what if they didn't do it? What if it was someone else? What if it was someone inside? What if it was the government, actually? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Never ask about Tower 7.
Which and it's actually more interesting the way he phrases it. It's like, even if it was someone working for this government, ? That's my question. If our own government was responsible for what happened at St. Mary's and Three Waters, if our own government was responsible, and then the last part, for the deaths of almost 100,000 people, would you really want to know? And then they cut away. It's like, that's an interesting way to phrase that question. It's not like, do you think they did it? But would you want to know? Like, do you want to know, actually?
That be truth that you can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the movie does ask quite thought-provoking questions, and it deals with aspects of the terrible aspects of a fascist society with a sort of comic book surface and sometimes hammy scenes, but there's like really good stuff in there thematically.
Yeah, and then we see some sweeps, a little sweep through the city where one of these sweep trucks, or whatever they want to call them, they just picking up some chatter from the people, and you basically just hear like, oh, they're all a bunch of hypocrites, they suck, the government is stupid. And then we see the V for Vendetta sign on the strength through unity, unity through faith sign outside, so... People are not happy.
Populace is starting to rebel a little bit.
Yeah, and then we go back to the evil chamber. It's like, based on random audio sweeps, 80% of the public believe the terrorist is still alive. Oh, whoops. And yeah, a bunch of positive mentions of him as well. It's just another council meeting where it's like, hey, we're handling it as best as we can. Arrests are as high as they've been since the reclamation. So they're basically doing all the things they would normally do, ramp it up, without really thinking about how bad this is going to be for them in the long run. Which I guess is all part of V's plan, right? He's just trying to...
Well, that's
Right.
the thing. They're thinking they can just choke the problem out with force, and they're not realizing that what V is appealing to is that, yeah, like, do you see how these guys operate? You don't want to live like this, do you?
Yeah.
Right.
This is how they've handled this. This is the way they know how to do it. And that's how they're going to handle it. Just put down the fist, put down the hammer, and deal with it. And the High Chancellor even says, I want more than arrests, I want results. And then we go back to Dietrich. And it's like, oh, we have to celebrate. And he got a bit cocky. I'd say.
Yeah. Oh my.
He was like, you know what? I'm gonna make something crazy. I'm gonna make this television thing where we parody the High Chancellor, who we know to be a very humorful person who definitely can take a joke. They basically just shit all over him. It's like, oh, look, the terrorist is not dead. Haha, it's actually dead. Well,
I love that they actually got John Hurt though to play the like he's also playing the parody versions of himself.
Right.
It's just the actual Chancellor actor.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But yeah, they do this like, oh, he's not actually there. It's like, and then there's like a thing where it's two of them. It's like, he's the imposter, no, he, and they kill them both, and it was like, ha ha ha, isn't that funny? And yeah, I guess that would be really funny for everyone. I mean, the populace is pissed off with him as well, so they're all having a good time. Viewer rates are probably going to be up. He trips on some banana peels and everything, and he's like, oh, what are they gonna do? Find me? I probably have to do a fundraiser. What should possibly be? Blah, 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 blah. Apparently there's a joke in there where he likes to drink milk, which is like, okay. I didn't really get that as a joke. That confused me. Maybe
yeah, it's kind of like the Homelander thing. I think people like the idea of a authoritarian, totalitarian dude like wanting to be a baby.
Oh, okay.
I'm
guess.
assuming it seems like a similar image.
I find it quite funny that the sketch is really quite tame. Like it's just like slipping on banana peels and stupid shit, but it pisses him off so much he breaks a wine glass in his hand. It's just absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, but
sorry, one more thing, as someone who's from Britain, and you guys might be aware of this as well. In Britain, like the monarch and the royal family are ruthlessly mocked, constantly joked about. So like this is in sharp contrast with what Britain actually is,
right?
You know, where like they make fun of the Queen, like for example, constantly.
Not my queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets a phone call. It's like, oh, whatever. Well, you want me to do fundraisers, or what would they do? Probably find me. Pff, whatever. I have like the biggest viewer rates or whatever, and it's like it's all gonna be chill. Yeah, not a great idea though, because immediately the same night he gets fucking swatted by the government.
Yeah, he really underestimated what the reprisal would be for this.
Yeah. And this is where we have like the same imagery with the bed and stuff. We talked about this. It's like the same. Like even Dietrich looking at her, but this time she doesn't scream out. She just holds her hand. Because he's getting...
I like that the tameness of the sketch sort of helps the logic of him thinking like, they're not going to do anything to me. It's not a big deal. Fuck, whatever. It's just like banana peels and shit.
Right.
But like it also demonstrates like the leader, the supreme leader is so thin-skinned. It's just like any kind of disobedience, even anything even slightly suggesting that you're rebelling is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, in case it wasn't clear already just how thin-skinned he was, like it's very clear now.
Yep. That's why freedom of expression is important.
Yeah.
And then Eevee makes her escape. She kind of not jumps out of the window, she just lets herself out of the window, just kind of hangs off the ledge and goes down. And she gets grabbed, black-bagged, if you will, and taken. And then that's a scene that I actually remembered from when I first watched it. I know why I remembered this specific. I guess because it's really intense, I guess.
Yeah, the whole next like 20 minutes of the movie are like a ride.
Yeah.
A 15? I don't know. Like it seems like it might be longer than it actually is.
Let me see. I'll check the timestamps here. So I think it starts at about 1:10.
There's still quite a bit of material to cover, but
it's like 15. Yeah. It's like 15 minutes. I mean, what happens is I can just summarize it real quick, and then we can talk about it. So basically, what happens? She gets taken in and put into captivity. He's like, hey, you'll be in charge of treason and sedition. Penalty is death by firing squad. You have one chance to save your life, and that's tell me the identity and whereabouts of Codename V is what they call it, or you face the repercussions. You can return to your life if you do this. If not, you gonna get shooty banged in the face. all you have to do is cooperate. So basically, like, you just have to just cooperate a little bit. It's like, well,
Earlier in the movie too, she says like, well, like I don't have any idea where we are. Like, what do you mean? I can't tell you where they are. And he's like, you know enough. You know that we're underground, and you know the color of the stone. That's all they're gonna need.
right.
So, like, he even he gave her the prompt to be like, if you want to get out of this situation, just remember I told you that.
Yeah.
Right.
And then she gets her head shaven to a buzz cut, if it were, and put in a cell that's just looks like cold stone with a toilet in the corner, and that's it. She gets like food thrown in there once or twice a day, which looks like gross, disgusting slop. For cleaning, she gets hosed, basically. Yeah, not a great time. They also show you how gross the food is by letting a rat look at it, but it doesn't take it and just leaves.
Yeah, not even the rat will eat it. That was fucking hilarious.
The rat's like, fuck that, I would rather starve.
It's like an
Rat's got
overtly funny,
standards.
like it's in sharp contrast with the situation of her believing that she's actually captured. That beat was actually quite funny.
Yeah.
I like the contrast there.
And then there's like a little hole. She has some scraping there, and she gets like a letter in there every time, which is by someone called Valerie. Another V. Wow. And it's basically, hey, I think I'm not gonna live much longer. I just want someone to hear my story, even though I have no idea who you are. It even says in there, oh, this might be one of the tricks. I can't convince you otherwise, but hear me out. And she talks about, it's like, oh, I remember that we had like a little farm. I remember the rain because God was in the rain. And it's like, oh, I remember my first girlfriend. I was like the big gay back then, but they told us it was just a phase. It's gonna go away. And it did for the other girl, but not for her. She stayed the gay, which the parents did not like. They were like, no, get the gay out of my house. So they kicked out the gay. And she went away and got sad.
There's also a beat
the
I found hilarious there where the parents throw her baby picture in the trash,
It's so rough, dude.
which made me laugh out loud. It's just
Because I thought it's going to
But
be
then-
like a recent picture, is like throw the baby thing in the...
But then it's another one of those situations where I had to remind myself these people are living in a society where they are being trained or conditioned to react to something like homosexuality with sheer contempt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just like, fuck, maybe they actually would do that. I don't know. But it's just funny to me watching that.
Yeah. Then in between those letters, she just gets like tortured more, like put her head under the water and whatever, and she gets a new letter like every time. And then in the next one, she talks about Valerie talks about, oh, I got like a role in
Star, yeah.
and the
Salt
Salt Flats.
Flats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw my actual girlfriend I want to be in my life
Yeah.
forever. And
Wife lady.
yeah, and they live together and it's all great. But then, America's war grew worse and came to London and shit went down.
Oh, and they grew the roses, that special type of rose.
Right, yeah, exactly. There were no roses anymore, she says. Again, it's like, oh, you won't last much longer, Natalie Portman. I mean, Eevee. And then we get the last letter. It's like, I remember how the meaning of words started to change. Words like collateral and rendition became frightening. But things like Norse fire and articles of allegiance became powerful. Different became dangerous, and all that stuff. Like, there's like pictures of them just swatting people because they're gay. It's like it's insane. It's crazy. Like they're black bagging them because they got the gay. They yeah, and then they took her girlfriend Ruth while she was shopping, and she basically just sat there waiting for them to come and get her. She didn't even react to it. But she says, for 3 years I had roses and apologized to no one. Says she shall die here, and that every inch of her will perish. And it's the only thing that the world...
One and yeah, the one is her integrity, her being able to live by her principles, even in the face of dire consequences.
Right. I think it's just one letter. She puts it away and continues reading it between hosing sessions. Really? I thought she went through the whole twice. Maybe I misunderstood. It doesn't really matter if it's one or multiple, but yeah.
Well, she might have also been hiding the note in the hole, like between sessions. But you got to think though, she would read this in one sitting if she had the whole thing, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not that.
Yeah, that is a bit odd. I don't know what's. I thought maybe it was like different letters being delivered. Like there is someone there.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Cell.
But then she only has
there.
like, I don't know. I don't know if she only has one letter. She just has them all rolled up. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
For the message.
Yeah, I still think this sequence is done very, very well. I think it's quite effective.
Yeah, it's like,
That's good. Yeah.
because it ends when I tell you that. Oh fuck. I hope that the world turns and gets better. What I hope most of all is that that you understand what I mean when I tell you that even though I do not know you, and even though I may never meet you, laugh with you, cry with you, or kiss you. Gay. Oh, she is gay. Never mind. I love you with all my heart, and that makes her cry.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty effective.
Yeah.
Like, the idea that it's like, no, like, I love you because you are the only person that will know my story and can tell it.
Exactly. And then the next cut, we see her not being scared anymore. She's just sitting there. It's like, well, you have been convicted by special tribunal that unless you are ready to offer your cooperation, you are to be executed. Do you understand what I tell you? Will you cooperate? And she just says, no. Without hesitation.
Firm resolve. Very calm.
No. Like, very well. So I guess court her back to her cell. Arrange a detail of 6 men. Take her behind the chemical shed and shoot her. And then the guy is before she gets taken away, it's like, come on, man. All they want is just a small little information. Like nothing crazy.
Just give them anything they can use and you'll be out of here.
It had to be behind the chemical shed. Just like the most unceremonious execution possible.
It's like, all they want is one little piece of it. Just give them something, anything. And she's like, thank you. I'd rather die behind the chemical sheds. It's like, damn. That's the most metal line I've ever heard. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, it's the idea of it's like, nope, I've still got that 1 inch.
Yeah.
I've got my integrity, and I'd rather die than lose it. It's good stuff.
Right.
And then the man says, then you have no fear anymore. You're completely free, and just walks off. And she's like, what? The keen-eyed between us in the group, in the chat. The guy was wearing gloves. Sus. But yeah, if you've seen this movie, you already know. This was all a big old set-upicus.
Ruse.
A ruse by V to show her, to get her to the resolve she needs to do a decision, make a decision.
Kind of break her out of the last bits of the brainwashing that were there. To be like, look, you got to understand how terrible these people actually are.
Yeah.
In addition to like the visuals being partly inspired by the Matrix, there's a nice little bit of thematic overlap as well. That idea of like your mind being your own prison. You know, you sort of put yourself there. In this case, it's like the idea of being scared. And in a way, you are truly free if you're not scared anymore.
Yeah,
you're more powerful than you think.
Scared into
Matrix is a bit like
compliance.
Yeah.
But yeah, she
Hi, puppies.
gets out of the thing, looks around, and finds herself in the shadow gallery, and she's like, "The fuck?"
Yeah. Now she's understandably pissed off.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's be honest. What he did was fucked up. Like,
I also find it funny that, like, in light of this being V having orchestrated everything, that he felt the need to feed her that slop that not even the rats would eat. Like, he couldn't even give her, like, something at least edible. You know what I mean? Like, I think being in that situation is plenty. Like, he wants to keep her alive with sustenance, right? It's like
he
can't
went
just give her
he
an
went
edible
super
meal.
all out. Yeah, he went very excessive, like hosing down, just not giving him a blanket or whatever. But I guess he wanted to go like fully all out with everything. It's like, look how shitty they are. But yeah, I mean, one way or another, if it does the results or not, I think it's fucked up. This is completely crazy. It's like, yeah, build this whole fucking cell complex just for you, so you can feel free.
I mean, it does seem crazy, but the idea of it being that she is now fearless, like this is the one way to sort of get rid of that. Like, I feel like this is the most effective way of doing that. But definitely extreme.
Oh yeah, it is very effective for sure. It gets the point across.
Once he points out you face your death and calmly you accepted that you'd rather die than give up. And like he's like, think about that feeling right now.
Yeah.
Would you have come to it any other way? And I mean, I think like the honest answer is probably not, but man, it's a tough road and definitely ethically ambiguous.
Yeah. And this is obviously a massive turning point for Eevee, who has a really nice arc throughout this film, because she is set up in the beginning. Like, she admits that she feels that she, like, is a coward and wishes she was stronger.
Yeah.
And her whole thing is realizing that she's a lot stronger than she thinks she is.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, true of so many people. You know, so many people can relate to that. The idea that they are so scared of everything and they wish they were stronger. But if in a dire circumstance they're capable of more than they would think.
Yeah.
And being in a situation where your principles are tested against the value of your own life is like going through that and coming out of it on top is definitely going to change how you see everything one way or another. Like, regardless of whether or not it was a ruse. So it's like, well,
right.
It does end up being a really good thing for her.
And within such an extreme oppressive society, it takes something extreme in turn to sort of snap people out of that conditioning.
No. Yeah, I do like her reaction though. Like, she's fucking livid, obviously. Again, as someone fucking would be. It's like, hey, I did this, by the way. Aren't you glad? It's like, no, you fucking tortured me. Are you crazy?
Which is also a reasonable reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's what I mean. Like, again, like in other movies, they would be like, oh, because they would come out and like, oh, you did this because of me. Thank you, good man. That's really cool of you. It's like, no,
in
it's
a worse
not.
movie, she would have just been totally fine with it from the get-go.
She puts her hands on her hips. V.
No, V.
Why did you do that?
I told you not to torture me.
Some kind of poorly emulated Joss Whedon joke.
But yeah, the benefit here though is that's what he has been that's what he's gone through. So he can tell her, yo, you can use these feelings. Like, this is the most important moment of your life. They took your parents from you, took your brother from you. They put you in a cell and took everything they could take. Accept your life, and you need to use that. Because you found something that mattered more than you to your life. Yeah, and then just try to feel now what you felt then. Like, wait, what did you say? I felt... Oh no, she just says I'm dizzy. Oh, never mind. I thought she said something that...
I think the feeling is sort of indescribable, I guess,
Yeah.
she's going through.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you put that into words? The totality of that experience.
Mm-hmm. Then they go up onto the roof and it's raining and she just goes in and I guess it just feels the rain. It's like, I guess like, wow, this feels great. Like feels, I guess, free. She feels free, I guess is the idea, right?
Mm-hmm. I think there's sort of a religious metaphor there, like a baptism sort of thing.
Yeah.
Being out in the rain.
And then, like, this is the image juxtaposition I actually do kind of like, with her being, like, baptized by the rain and him being baptized in the fire.
Right.
As being kind of their origin.
Yeah. That is cool.
And then she's like, I'm gonna leave now, by the way. I can't stay here. He's like, yeah, I thought so. Then he says, I've listened to all the 300 or 800 tracks in here, but I've never danced to any of them.
This is a nice scene. Yeah.
And he just says, you won't find any more locked doors here. You can freely move in and out as you wish. And he's like, oh, I thought about keeping these letters, but didn't seem right because you wrote them. He's like, let me show you something.
Yeah,
And
about
then
that.
we get to a shrine to Valerie and the salt flats and all the roses. And he's like, oh shit, she was real. And she's
Yeah,
beautiful.
he looked her up afterwards.
And he did.
And I actually like the fact that it's like the fact that she was the star of a movie that he could research and be like, oh, I now know what this person looks like. I can find old pictures of them and things like that. So like he was able to really like construct the actual person, even though all he actually met of her was that piece of toilet paper with a story scrawled on it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, did you know her? It's like, no. She delivered the letter to me as I did to you. And she's like, oh, that really happened, huh? Like, yep. Was in the cell next to her. So it's all about getting back to them for what they did to her, huh? And to you, obviously.
She's in cell IV and she's Eevee. I don't know if that was intentional. I just thought of it and thought it was funny.
Interesting.
It's like, what was done to me created me. It's a basic principle of the universe that every action will create an equal and opposing reaction. It's like, like an equation? That's that how you see it? They created me. It's like they created a monster. It's like, oh, fuck. Rude, but true. It's like, but yeah, there's like a little bit of silence, and it's like, do you know where you go? And she's like, no. They would have skipped me before, but I suppose I should thank you. I like how it's just still this hesitant thank you. It's like, no, I don't know.
Well, I mean, he did still waterboard her. So.
Yeah. And then she wanted to give him a little smooch, but he's like, no. No thoughts allowed. No.
He's doing no FAP for the 5th of November.
It's it's currently no nap November, Eevee. I can't do this.
If only my plan was the 5th of December.
And then he says, I have one wish. I would like to see you again before the 5th. And she says, all right. And then he gets angry and destroys the mirror and does a little sobbing.
Yeah, he's still pretty sad that she's going.
Yeah.
I think what particularly sets him off is the line about him being a monster.
Yeah.
Like he says, he kind of snaps at her a bit. It's like, what they did to me was monstrous. Like, I am justified to a degree here.
Yeah.
And
I think that
she's like, and it created a monster. And he's sort of like, he knows she's right.
Yeah.
Like, he is a monster.
I don't remember if this was before the scene or a little bit after. There's like there's a line by someone that says they've been wearing the mask for I think it was actually Dietrich in the one scene. I think he says was like sometimes you at some point you're wearing the mask for so long that you forget who you are a bit underneath it, and I think that just parallels here as well. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not just the killer. There's a person underneath my mask that I've been wearing for so long.
Right.
Anyway, back to evil government people.
Yay.
And we have the one guy saying, I know no one wants to talk about this, but we should be prepared for any eventuality. And what if he succeeds? Like, I have like a report from several demolition experts. And it's like, hey, the logical delivery system for terrorists would be an airborne attack. And then he says, a separate report says, suggesting a train, despite the fact that the tunnels surrounding the parliament have been sealed shut. Who filed that report? And just looks over to Finch. No, and they just ask, do you have any evidence to support this conclusion? It's like, no, it's just a feeling, really. It's like, okay, well, government won't survive without feelings, so keep that shit to yourself, basically. Which is funny because he's obviously right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the chancellor wants to send a message that has to be heard and seen by everyone. So put it on the entire interlink, and make them realize that we stand on the edge of oblivion, and we are so close to chaos. But yeah, I think the last line is what sums it up. He just wants everyone to remember that they need us. They need us. They need
Such a good
us.
delivery, too.
Yeah. And then we get a couple of news excerpts, if you will. It's like in the former United States, civil war continues to devastate the Midwest. What else do we have here? Scientists attribute this water shortage to the lack of rainfall the last 2 years. Yeah, because there's a water shortage. Ministry officials expect water coupon prices to rise. It's like, oh, that sounds great. Then they have like an avian flu going on. And then you have like a little thing of the populace. You see what they think. I have to talk about this. Not specifically, but because I'm still doing Rings of Power editing, right? And like one of my biggest complaints in that show is we don't ever get to see what any of the populace thinks. We sometimes get like a proxy character that just he decides this, so all the people here are also on their side sometimes. Like you don't get a little insight on what the overall people think. Like you don't see what all the dwarves think in Rings of Power of the king being a greedy cunt. And it's like, oh, you're gonna have a 100% tax on everything you have to sell, like shit like this. And we don't ever see anyone. Like they seem a little bummed. It's like, oh, we got a little thing, ha ha ha. Even though this would have massive repercussions in how they would react to the king. While here, it's not a lot, and they really need to have this in here because the whole thing is in V for Vendetta is, of course. We need the populace to rise up against the crazy regime that's been doing the fascism everywhere. We need to see how they feel. The whole point is that in the end, they're going to go all rise up to the parliament and reclaim their city, right? So we get to see, we have like a little excerpts here and there where we see like, oh, that's how they feel. It's like, do you believe this? Or the random sweeps have showed us that 80% of the people don't believe that the terrorist is dead, and 12% of them have been talking favorably about in favor about V. Shit like this, right? We know when we watch the show, oh, the populace, they're beefed. They're not on board with the government like at all. That's my rant. There you go. Rings of Power is bad.
I have no interest in watching that show. Yeah.
Oh, you shouldn't. It's awful. It's really bad. And yeah, they even try to frame V for the St. Mary's viral attack on London 14 years ago. Which, yeah. Good stuff. Back with Mr. Finch. It's just funny, the partner comes in, like they're both on board now, like they're working together, which I like. He comes in, just gives a little hand sign to Finch. He closes the door. He puts the debugger on, and so I was like, "Oh, we got some info. That there were 3 men for covered intel. Original black baggers, all under Creedy. Ellen Percy, Keyes, Rookwood, blah blah blah. And they basically all, suddenly died, as the partner puts it. Percy gives his Beretta a blowjob. Keyes dies in a fire, and Rookwood goes missing. Weird. And then he recognizes a name in there. I think it was the Rookwood guy.
The giving his Beretta a blowjob line is so extra.
Yeah.
It's the most extra way of describing a suicide I've ever heard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he got an email from William Rookwood that just says, "I understand you're looking for me. I can only assume this means that you're ready for the truth. If so, return this email and I will send contact details." And obviously, that's our boy, right? So they go to the memoriam site of the St. Mary's virus victims. And this is where he sits. And he even puts a little debugger down himself. Because this is a pretty smartly written movie, and V would obviously think about that shit because he probably thinks that they're tapped or whatever. So,
right.
Good stuff. But here he's like, okay, what information do you have? And he basically tells him, like, you have all the names, information you want. All you need is a story. Like, you have all the names already. And the inspector is like, well, story can be false. I was like, yeah, I'll leave that up to you. But the story tells of a young and upcoming politician, deeply religious man, member of the Conservative Party. That's what you mentioned earlier, John.
Right, yeah.
He's completely single-minded and has no regards for the political process, becomes like mega Hitler, as you put it. The more power he attains, the more obvious his zealotry, and the more aggressive his supporters become. Eventually, the party launches a special project, name of National Security, which is the Lar Hill Detention Center.
Yeah.
Pursued with regard, like it's pursued without regard for the cost. True goal is power. All the good stuff. Hegemony.
Obviously,
yeah.
Alan Moore, the writer of the original material, he's a pretty, I think, well-known progressive liberal.
Right.
But for not only the original source material, but the film as well was, I think, coming off an era of like that sort of Bush era republicanism where it needed to be reined in by the liberals. So it's a bit one-sided, but it's also a product of its time. And like I was saying before, I think ultimately the themes of fascism and totalitarianism and the dangers associated with that is the broader point.
Right.
Which is cool.
And obviously the big story he gives them is he found out he has this biological weapon that he made, and he's like, well, how about we don't use that on the enemies of the state, use it on our own people, make them believe it was an attack by some terrorists, and ask them to, just stay in line, do what they tell you, we'll keep you safe, and all is gonna be cool, and we're gonna have a great time. And that's how they hold on to power for so long. They basically attacked their own country, and made the votes sweeping in because, oh wow, we found a cure all of a sudden. Wow, are we cool? And now we're in power and we're all filthy rich. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's their story now. Now they know why this all has been going on. Also, it seems Mark has some trouble with his microphone there. That or he got taken by Creedy, one of the two.
Black bagged.
Mark got black bagged. Well, still can't hear you, Mark, I'm afraid. Sacrifice freedom for security. Yeah, exactly. Mark was attacked by his dogs. Oh, not again. I like how the guy leaves and just says, "Till then, cheerio." There's something funny about him saying cheerio. And it's like, well, what were you waiting for? Why didn't you come forward earlier? It's like, well, I was waiting for you. I needed you. Which probably means someone from the higher ups in the government being suspicious of everything. But yeah, what he says, like, I'll give you more information as soon as I know you know Creedy's every move, because he's the most dangerous one right now. But yeah. Shit is going down. It's about to go the F down. Because he's now at Creedy's, VS. And Creedy has been, listened to by the Sweep Mobile, the big old monitor station. And he's not... He basically has him, Sutler can no longer trust you. Oh, do you know that? We both know why, because of me. Because after I destroy Parliament, you're gonna be offered to the public as a piece of meat, basically, because he's gonna be the fall man for the High Chancellor. But you knew that. You probably have a plan, right? Because you're currently listened by everyone. Every phone is tapped, and he just says, "that's bollocks." And it's like, yeah, you should be. You're a smart man. You are well aware of this. This happened. This is currently going on, and
it's like every real thing in an administration like this needs to be like warped or covered up in some way to further their own interests. Kind of reminds me of that movie, The Death of Stalin, where he's like they find him dead one morning, and it's just a complete like the shit just hits the fan, and they're all clueless. They don't know what to do. It's like, what do we tell people? Like it's kind of a similar thing here, especially like when they find that guy, that propagandist guy, dead in the shower. It's just like, how do we spin this? That's the immediate. It's like the first thing on the agenda.
But yeah, and V just tells him, "Hey, you give me Sutler, and you get me. And if you accept these terms, put an X on your front door with this chalk I'm gonna give you." It's like, why should I trust you? And it's like, because it's the only way you're ever going to stop me. It's like, oh, yeah, it's probably true, yeah.
Good line, yeah.
And then we see Eevee just watching a bit of the telly, watching Monte Cristo again on her own. She's apparently just been hiding out somewhere, just chilling out, basically.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Creedy is pinned down. Oh yeah, then the next scene, this is where Finch realizes that they were talking to V. It's like, hey, yeah, we found the guy you were asking for a few weeks back, the Rockwood guy. We got him. So he got picked up by fishermen out of the water. We got like a perfect dental match. He's dead. It's like, yeah, he died 20 years ago. It's like, fuck! Just kicks over the bin. That son of a bitch sat there and spoon fed me that bullshit, and I ate it up. It's like, damn. I was like, what do we do now? Well, we gotta do what we've been doing the whole time, trying to find him. And yeah, we get another thing. We see the little girl we've seen a couple of times here already. She's like spraying a V on the through unity through faith sign. And yeah, the spirits are changing. People are not happy with anything currently. They're not having a good time. This is we're getting the scene where he builds the dominoes here in a second.
Yeah.
But first
Took a while to do that, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's been like 300 something days. We're almost at November. You failed 300 and something times. And it's like, hey, I'm sorry, we don't have the force to actually get all this done. Like, this is some crazy shit. And he doesn't want to hear it. He is like, I've been being buried beneath the avalanche of your inadequacies, Mr. Greedy. It's like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Oh, now Discord isn't launching for Mark right now. No, that's good signs.
That's weird.
Discord do be like that sometimes. Just let it load, Mark. Sometimes I had before the Discord for some reason took like 5 minutes to start, and I don't really know why. Didn't matter if it was
was that like updates being downloaded?
I don't think so. It was just blank. It was just a gray Discord, no loading sign, nothing, and then at some point it just started up. I don't know why that happened. It's a really weird thing. Oh, Mark is reinstalling it. I guess that works. That might work too. Yeah, sure.
It could be. Yeah, that's what I would do.
In the meantime, we see the FedEx basically going around because V is currently in the process of sending out hundreds of thousands Guy Fawkes masks and
lots of masks.
Lots of
questionable
masks.
How he got a hold of all of those, but it's fine.
He has so many masks, so many outfits. But yeah, basically the High Chancellor is going crazy. It's like, I want any one of them being arrested and do the thing. It's like, shit, we're like under siege. The whole city's gone mad. And Finch realized that's exactly what I wants, like anarchy, chaos, whatever you want to call it. And now the thing happens that V said to Creedy, because the High Chancellor says, hey, Creedy, I'm holding you personally responsible for the situation. Like, he basically already told him right now, it's like, yeah, you're the fall guy. You're my problem. Then we see he put on the axe on the door. He's like, okay, yeah, he was right. I am the fall guy. No fucking chance. He's gonna fucking get it. In the meantime, Finch actually went to the old St. Mary's St. Mary's or the Larkin thingy. But he checked that out, and when he saw that, it just all kind of came together for him. Like, he understands like that this all happened. It all just makes way too much sense. Like, it's all built on bullshit. So all the suspicions he had, he's just kind of coming around now. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. And I think his partner says, oh, what do you think is gonna happen? It's like, oh, whatever happens every time people without guns go against people with guns, someone's gonna do something really stupid, basically. That's not exactly how he puts it, but we see like someone like a police, like government guy shooting a child because they was wearing the mask, right? Yeah. So do you know what's gonna happen? And Finch says like, no, it was a feeling, but he can guess. I'm just waiting for the line here. With so much chaos, someone will do something stupid. Yeah, that's basically it. Okay, I wasn't too far off with what I said.
Right. The stupid thing, obviously, being like a kid gets shot, and then the public.
Yeah, they just maul the fucking government guy right there, and when something goes wrong, things will turn nasty. Like, he's trying to hide behind the the badge, but they're like, you just fucking shot a child. It's Jover.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, the government already crossed the line, but this is like, we're in a different ballpark now. Like, you guys are like evil. I mean, you're already evil, but like, this is absolutely unacceptable. Just on its face.
Yeah. And then Sutter will be forced to do the only thing he knows how to do, and we see all the soldiers and everything pulling up, keeping everyone in check, or at least try to, and then Finch just ends with, at which point all V needs to do is keep his word.
Yeah. It's a great monologue. it's a great montage. The music is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like this whole sequence is great.
Yeah.
I really like the editing, the use of quick shots in between. I was gonna add something else to that, but I can't remember what it was. Just a good montage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it actually is evocative of truth, like what he's talking about, that pattern of like people with guns going against people without guns. It's only a matter of time before indeed somebody does something stupid, and then that sets off a chain reaction.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that is a recurring pattern. Like, you can observe that in reality.
Yeah, and then we have the scene where he does like the dominoes thingy, and I mean it looks cool, and it's
Great
it's
visual, yeah.
it is a very movie thing, because it was like, oh, see, I pushed the one domino that just gets it all over the line, right? It gets us to the goal, and
Yeah.
it's just so funny just imagining that he put this all in there just to push it over himself. It's like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, my initial reaction was like, who is this for? Like, just the audience? But then when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, he could be at a point now where he has done all the prep he possibly can, and now it's just waiting for the time to do all the stuff. And it's just like, fuck, I can twiddle my thumbs, or I can actually do this cool thing that I find entertaining. And it's just like, all right.
I just imagine Eevee come in here randomly, and he's just doing this. It's like, hey, what's up? What are you doing? It's like, oh, just little themes. Just putting some themes on the floor.
Yeah. I wonder how many times he fucked it up.
It's like, fuck, damn it. Stupid shit sucks. That shit does suck. As a child, I had like these Domino Day sets. Do you remember Domino Day? I don't know if that was actually
Kind
like
of,
a
yeah.
German thing, or if that was an international thing. It was like a big
It sounds
TV
familiar.
show where they, over months or something, they put up like these huge domino parks with like all these different visuals and stuff, like hundreds of people working on that shit. And it was like on television, like to a degree where they even built contraptions. When they hit it, they hit like a big pendulum that went in a circle, and that was like the ad break thing, so you wouldn't miss anything. So while this was circling around, the ads were playing, and then when you came back, you saw the thing hit it, and then it goes ahead. Yeah, it was pretty fun thing to watch. It was pretty fun, and they went bigger every time. So they did like world records and shit. I don't know when it stopped doing, but it was like a thing for like 5 or 6 years or something. But I guess people then lost interest because watching dominoes fall is only that interesting for a time now.
Right, yeah. You only get so much mileage out of that.
Yeah, Discord is such a stable app, nothing wrong happens with it. I know, right? Yeah, Mark is still having problems. That's a bit annoying. What a bad time to do it, like right at the end to move the movie. Discord really doesn't want to recognize my mic, but Windows doesn't either. Oh, wait, so that's your problem. You can't... That's... okay. Hardware problems. My favorite. But then, not all the dominoes fall. What? There's one in the middle that's been kept up. And he goes around and picks it up, and it's like, I think someone else needs to do the last step. I put everything in motion, and we'll get more context for that a little bit later. Finch is just sitting in his chair. The alarm goes on. He opens up the blinds, and he's like, well, it's your big day, V. Hope you're ready. Because he knows what's going on. His shit is about to go down. Are you ready for it? And are we ready for it? And yeah, even V, he seems like he didn't get any sleep. He seems to be nervous about this, which is, I think, is a nice little touch. Like, he's also just sitting in his chair, not lying in his bed. It's just a kind of nice little touch. But then he hears the jukebox playing music because Eevee is here. It's like, oh shit, you actually came. I didn't expect that. He's like, well, I've told you I would, right?
Yeah, I like that he's nervous because it's like a shitload of planning, especially when
Yeah.
you see the train.
This is funny. He asks like, "Oh, how did you avoid detection?" She's like, "Yeah, fake ID works better than a Guy Fawkes mask." It's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And he tells her he was like, he was worried about her every time he heard a siren. It's like a nice little story she tells, like, "Oh, I wasn't that much, but I was really, really nervous one time because I was standing in front of an old friend that I had worked with, and I was so nervous that I dropped my money, and they picked it up and gave it to her but didn't recognize her, and that was very nerve-wracking, which, you know, makes sense. Nice little thing. But yeah, obviously V was worried about her the whole time, and he's like, "I have a gift for you, but before I give it to you, may I ask you to have a little dance with me, because I've never danced before." Because a revolution without dancing is a revolution not worth having, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Good dialogue, yeah.
Well, they danced. The High Chancellor's yelling more at his people. But yeah, tonight any protester, instigator will be made example of, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, it's like everyone is very in unease. And the one guy is like, there's something that hasn't been addressed yet. It's like, what if he succeeds? It's like, should the terrorist succeed? He won't. It's like, I understand it's highly unlikely, but if he does and something happens to that building, what does he say? The only thing it will change, the only difference it will make is that tomorrow morning, instead of a newspaper, I have Creedy resignation on the table. It's like, okay, Jesus, you're really confident about this, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, he's not even like fully comprehending. Like, it's like he can't even envision what the world would be like if all this were to fall apart. Like, he's still thinking in terms of like things will go on as normal, and he will just simply hand in his resignation letter as if like
that would do
things
anything.
would transform drastically. Yeah, a resignation letter would be fucking meaningless at that point.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we only see the High Chancellor like on the screen for the most part. We see him in these flashbacks on the podium going like, "Oh, I'm Mega Hitler." But but just by things you hear about them, it's like, hey, he has like trains that deliver like fresh butter to him that no one else actually gets. Like you can tell he's like sitting in his golden castle, just yelling at people, things like, "Oh, they need me, har har, I'm the big guy, and no one can. Not, if anything happens, I'm just gonna frame this guy, and I'm untouchable." So
the big talking head is very like 1984 Wizard of Oz did that as well. Like, you have this big sort of omnipotent, scary looking thing, but it's really voiced by a small man in a tiny booth at the back.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, things are not as they seem. This is not as intimidating as you think it is.
Yeah, it's he feels untouchable, but he's gonna not be so untouched anymore here very soon, so he's gonna get his comeuppance. Mark says, "So weird, I can hear the computer through the mixer. I can hear my mic through the mixer, but the mixer doesn't seem to be sending the mic info to the computer." That's weird. The thing is, all the things I would tell you to try, you definitely tried already, like the Windows settings and the Discord settings. I know Mark knows computers well enough for me to not tell him that, so I actually don't know what the issue is there. That's really annoying.
Yeah, I'm just curious what Mark did exactly when he left, other than just hit mute.
I don't know. I mean,
I would imagine that's all he did. So
yeah,
I don't
know. But yeah, we go back to V and Eevee. It's like, hey, how's it? Is it that you're like the most important thing that's happened to me in my life, but I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you had any brothers or sisters, and I don't even know what you really look like. And he's like, she's about to take off the mask, and he's like, no, there's a face beneath this mask, but it's not me. And I think what he's trying to say is like, hey, that actual person behind that mask, that doesn't really exist anymore. And I guess he doesn't remember it either, because they do say in the journal that he doesn't remember anything from his past up until that point.
Right.
So I guess the idea is he's actually just some kind of monster that's just out for vengeance for what they did to him without actually knowing anything about his past, I think. That's actually that's a read I'm getting. I'm not 100% sure on that, though.
Yeah, I think he thinks of his own body as sort of a symbol of just the monster he was turned into, and the mask sort of serves to mask that, right? He's a different person with virtue associated with it. And it's like you were saying earlier about the bringing up the line of dialogue from elsewhere in the film about wearing a mask long enough and you forget who you are. In this case, it's like, to him, it's like who he was before doesn't even matter. So taking off the mask is pointless. Like, this is who I am now.
Yeah. And Eevee just says, I understand. She's like, thank you. That's nice. And it's like, oh yeah, and then he's about to gift her the train. But first we go back to Finch, and the partner's like, I've never seen anything like this. There's like anti-air soldiers, infantry, tanks. They got fucking everything over there. And this is actually the line that I was saying earlier. It's like, makes you wish that no one would go there, but what do you think will happen if they go there? It's like, well, usually what happens when people without guns stand up to people with guns. And he just leaves it there. They're not overt about it. I think they made enough implications on what he means. Like, someone might get a bit trigger happy or something, and then something bad might happen.
Yeah.
And now we get the handing over of the train. And it's like, well, it took nearly 10 years to clear the tracks and lay a bit of my own to actually get that thing here. But yeah, the train goes straight to the Parliament, and it's rigged with all of the explosives. It's so many explosives.
There's fertilizers, munitions, just carriages and carriages stuffed with explosive material.
And it's like, that's my gift to you. Everything that I have, my home, my books, the gallery, this train, I'm leaving to you to do with what you will. And she immediately has to set another trick.
V for Vendetta.
Sorry?
She has become V for Vendetta.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
No, it was good. I was just I talked over it a little bit. But yeah, he realized I put everything in motion, but I'm not the one who should pull this lever. I think it's someone who should inherit this new world that's gonna come up. Because the world that I'm part of right now, that I helped shape, that ends tonight. And when a new world will begin tomorrow, it belongs to the people that are still there. And I don't plan to be there anymore.
I kind of, I get it. It's such a huge gamble, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
Like, because she almost doesn't do it because of the cop that shows up, right? Just to jump ahead a little bit.
Yes.
And then it sort of comes down to him basically lowering his weapon. Like, why can't V as an individual do it just like he's leaving Eevee to do it as an individual? Like, I feel like he's romanticizing the idea of somebody else doing it a little too much. Like, why not just do it yourself at this point? But I do like the gesture of it, the symbolism, I suppose, of leaving it up to the people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the thing is, I'm just confused about his plan here. If she wouldn't be here, because he didn't expect her to come back. But what he does now before he goes in there, I mean, I guess he still makes it back to the train even after he gets shot up. But what if that didn't work? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he has everything prepped, then he goes to get Creedy and the guy, kills them, and then comes back here. He could have made it here, I guess, but what if he would have just been shot up, and then that wouldn't have worked either. So I think this last part of his plan is a bit wobbly, I guess.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I think it's too much of a risk to take, considering not only the sheer amount of planning and effort that has been put into it already, but the fact that this needs to happen. So who cares who does it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he basically says he is about to meet his maker and has to be this way. And she's like, we could let it go. We can just get out of here and live together. Where it's like, yeah, no. He's definitely not going to agree to that. I know you're fond of him, but yeah, no, that's not happening. Then he gives a little smooch on the mask. And then he says, I can't, and just runs off to meet Creedy and his goons. The big boy, High Chancellor, is making a speech, while everyone else while Creedy and his people are doing a sweep of the area to make it safe. And then V appears. It's like, I've kept my promise, have you kept yours? And I do like the shot where we see the High Chancellor talk on the intercom, but no one is actually in their seats. Like, we revisit all the places we've been throughout the movie, and as like an observer, but no one is in their seats anymore. Just showing that everyone is taking up the mantle to go to the parliament.
Right, yeah, it's great. I like that too.
But yeah, Settler is here. Creedy made it happen. He got him here. And he's like, oh, nice, you got here. Here, you have the rose. And then Creedy just shoots him in the face, saying disgusting.
The disgusting line's pretty funny.
Yeah. And then Creedy's like, well, take off your mask. It's like, nope. Like, what is your plan? Well, the only thing you and I have in common, Mr. Creedy, is we're both about to die. He's like, huh, how do you imagine that's gonna happen? With my hands around your neck. It's like, damn. Yeah. I like how he says bollocks. Like, bollocks.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you gonna do? We've swept this place. You've got nothing. Nothing but your bloody knives and your fancy karate gimmicks. We have guns. Which, good point.
Mm-hmm.
And V just says, no, you have bullets, and the hope that when your guns are empty, I'm not longer standing, because if I am, you all die before you reload it. That's impossible.
It's interesting that he would have, like, he's not like Batman where he's willing to just outright kill people, but he won't use guns for some reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I mean, he's getting shot up quite a bit. And he dies at the end, but yeah, I mean, he has like the armor on it, which obviously wouldn't give this protection, but movie plot armor is going on. I have no other way to explain this. I expect armor for this part of the movie. I appear to be lost on this one. I suppose I can try to join from my phone, but I might not sound great. I mean, you could try, see how it sounds or whatever.
I like that we see the armor plating come off. It's riddled with like rounds, like dents.
Yeah,
and
I mean, he's not.
He is put in he is nearly dead when it's all over.
Yeah. But yeah, we get like a little slow-mo action because he's fast as fuck, boy.
Again, just a very sort of Matrix type shot.
Yeah.
Especially with like the waves around the knives. It's sort of like bullet time.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I enjoy it.
There's really cool shots. Yeah, there's one where it's a panning shot where it follows the knife and then it lands on like a guy with a revolver emptying the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's emptying all the bullets out of it or something. He's like reloading, I guess.
Yeah, Creedy is emptying out his thing so he can reload.
Right. Yeah. It's a great shot.
And he does get to reload. He still gets all the shots out, but there's still enough armor left, and he gets his hands around his neck and breaks his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Beneath this mask, there's an idea, Mr. Creedy, and ideas are bulletproof.
That's a great bit of dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, better than I'm an idea. Not as good.
Yeah.
Not quite as good.
Again, to mention Batman, it's like that idea of Batman has no limits, but like
guess-
Alfred has to
Oh,
watch
wow.
him take off his clothes and he's all fucking bruised and beat up. It's like at the end of the day, you are still just a dude. Like,
Yeah.
maybe you're biting off more than you can chew here.
Am I like super loud or something? I just heard you say, "Oh God."
That's pretty loud,
fine.
actually. Yeah. I mean, I can turn you down on my end, though.
Yeah, that might be what you have to do. How to use the settings on the phone app here.
Yeah. Chad, you let me know if
Where's
that's
the
fine.
novel?
I put you on 85. I think that should be all right.
All right, I apologize for the technical issues. I really don't know what's going on exactly, though.
Yeah, that sounds like a weird one.
No, honestly, it wouldn't be nearly as weird if I couldn't hear my mic at all through like my monitor, but I'm like, I can hear the mic, so the mic's picking me up. It's just, and I can hear the computer through the mixer. It's just not sending the mic data to the computer, but it's
Yeah.
receiving data from the computer. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, weird. Well, we gotta make do with phone mark for the rest of the day, but that's
Sorry,
fine.
everybody.
We don't have that much left. It's fine.
I hope it doesn't sound too poopy.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've heard much worse. A cyborg with technical issues? I feel scammed.
Yeah, no, so do I.
But yeah, we see
Also,
him take off the.
Before we get off the
armor, yeah.
the fight, the little fight scene, I love like after he gets shot, the close up on his mask as he like looks back up.
Yeah,
He says, "My turn." That's so fucking good.
My
Like
turn.
the lighting,
Yeah, it's a really
like
great one.
you're just looking at the mask with no expression, but you can tell like, oh, he's fucking pissed. Like shit's gonna go down.
yeah, it's good stuff.
And this is probably the biggest action scene in the movie too.
Oh yeah, yeah. He fucks
Yeah, and it's
him
pretty
up.
brief, right? On top of the fact that it's all slow motion and this is all meant to happen in like a span
A
of
couple
seconds.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff. Then we see him take off the armor. It's pretty fucked up and bruised up, and there's blood everywhere. So yeah, he's not doing well.
Yeah, he's definitely been taking some hits.
And then we see Eevee looking at the train, thinking about what the fuck to do with this new responsibility. But V made his way back here as well. It's like, we need to stop the bleeding. It's like, no, nothing. I'm gonna die with my idea.
Yeah. I'll just die. That's cool.
It's like, for 20 years I thought only this day, nothing else existed until you came into my life. So thank you for that. And then she's, what did she say? I don't want you to die. And it's like that. That's the most beautiful thing you could have ever given me. That's what he says. And then he does die. Big sad. And then she probably takes a big oh wait, no, first we see all the V's appear, and something made me giggle. There's one of them that kind of jumps down a little thing and he almost falls over. That kind of made this a little funny. Like there's one guy on the like the middle right, he just trips when he jumps down. I just found it fun. Because of that, I can't take the whole movie seriously, like Star Wars with the bonking of the head.
Yeah, exactly. Movie ruined. 0 out of 10 on the IGN scale.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that makes that last little exchange with Eevee so good is that I think V has always thought of himself not as a man, but an embodiment of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that she confesses his love for him as a person.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden it's like a reminder, like, oh yeah, I am an individual, and someone likes me for who I am, despite my monstrous appearance and the things I've done. Like, I did good enough that somebody actually likes me in this way.
Yeah.
You know, I can still be loved as a person.
It's good stuff. And
One
then
would hope.
the copper arrives. Finch, oh boy, he arrives at the train. He's like, you're Eevee Hammond, aren't you? And then he sees V. He's like, oh, he's dead already, damn it. It's like, oh, then it's over. It's like, not quite. I need to pull that lever. It's like, oh, get your hand off that lever. Like, just looks at him and says, no. And while this is happening, we see like this armada of V's coming their way, and it's like, what shall we do? It's like, there's no response from command, party leader Creedy, or from the High Chancellor. Like, nothing is happening. It's like, and then
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if they're not getting any orders too, you don't want to be the first one to start firing on a bunch of civilians.
yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I like the guy who just says like, stand down, don't do anything, and then they just kind of all go past him. And it's like, you know what? He was right about what? It's like that this country needs more than a building right now. It needs hope. And then he puts down the gun. Yeah, the one guy's got, bloody hell, stand down, stand down. And it's kind of, I like how they did this. They all just kind of jump over the barricades and stuff. Like it looks it just feels very real because they just kind of shimmy like past them. Like it looks really unpractical and uncomfortable. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that's happening right now.
And at the same time, definitely preferable to them trying to fight the armed people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, I mean, if they're not getting orders, like they're not going to shoot. Like, I'm pretty sure, like military guys, that's a thing. Like, you do not engage unless you are told to do by your commanders.
Especially on what are presumably innocent citizens from your country. It's like, oh, I don't necessarily want to be the first one to pull the trigger here. Does anyone else?
Yeah. And at this point, the head has been cut off the snake, so to speak. Like there's nobody at the top giving orders anymore.
Yeah.
And everybody has just largely been doing what they've been told from the top down.
Yep. So without the order, they're just people.
Yep. And then the train leaves the station because she puts the lever, and she did ask Finch, do you like music, Mr. Finch?
Yeah.
And then we get Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a nice little stylized bit where, like, as she's telling him about V being everyone, you see the people taking off the mask, and everyone who died is there too.
Right. Yeah.
I like that they all take off their masks because, like, when you've collected in those sheer numbers, there is no need to hide anymore. Like we've won.
And another couple of really good-looking explosions, and they blow up the Parliament all the way. Big explosions.
I love that. The last shot before the explosion is just V's body, bird's eye view, and the train just rattling towards the Parliament. It's so good.
It's good stuff. Ah, yes, explosions. And then the bell tolling one last time before it explodes is kind of fun too. I like it.
Yeah.
And then you have
he
all
what he wanted, and he had the last laugh in the end.
Yeah, all the fireworks. And then he asked who he was, and then she goes like, he was Edmond Dante, my father, my mother, my brother. I don't know what that's quoting, to be honest, but I get it.
Yeah, Edmond Dantes is the main character from the Count of Monte Cristo. And, then he's saying, like, my father, my mother, and my brother are the first people that she lost.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and then, like, kind of just expanding that out to just being he's everyone.
There's great little ending monologue here. I mean, not only the fact that like V was all of us, but like I think the very last line is "I love the man."
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the whole film, it's not really about him as a person. It's about him as a manifestation of an idea. But then at the very end, it sort of turns out on its head. It's like he was just a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, partly.
Yeah,
Part
but it
monster,
was.
part
I will
was
never
at least
forget the
one-
man and what he meant to me. She says.
Yeah.
There was one person who actually loved him, the person, not just the idea he represented, and that was kind of what he meant about like the fact that you don't want me to die is like that. That's the most beautiful thing you could possibly give me.
Yeah.
There's someone out there
Right.
that cares.
Yeah.
And that's it. We did it. That's the
Yeah.
movie. That's the last line in the movie. And yeah, good stuff. Really good stuff. I really like this movie.
Yeah,
It's
I
good,
like it
yeah.
a lot.
It's really good.
One of my favorites.
Good old V for Vendetta. Yeah, Hugo Weaving, fantastic job. Natalie Portman. I mean, everyone in here does like a really good job. I wouldn't really point anyone out that's like bad or anything. But yeah,
It's really hard to think of a better fit than Hugo Weaving. Like, I'm not sure anyone can
Yeah.
pull it off
yeah,
in the same way, because he just has this. You can the way he reads his lines. It's the same thing in The Matrix, where it's just so unique, the way he reads it.
mm-hmm.
His
There's,
voice.
there's a quality to how his voice sounds too during the deliveries that I think is kind of hard to put your finger on, and
Yeah.
it does make him very distinct. Even though he sounds different here than he does in Lord of the Rings or in The Matrix, it's still always him. You know, like
Yes.
there's that element of like, no one really speaks the way he does, do they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, good stuff. I mean, I don't really have anything to add. I think we went there quite extensively, I would say. Good stuff, lads. Good stuff.
Yeah, sorry I missed a bit of the commentary in the middle there, guys.
That's all right. Shit happens.
Unannounced technical issues that seemed like if they were going to be a problem, they should have been a problem at the beginning of the show, not like in the middle of it.
Yeah, especially not when we just mute, come back, and then it's like, I'm just not going to work anymore.
Yeah, like I unmuted and then I noticed my green bubble wasn't popping up. I was like, huh? What's going on? I was like, is it like doing that thing where it's recognizing my camera or my PlayStation controller or something? Looked in the settings, like, no. Test my input and just Discord and Windows, not just not receiving anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Why? But it's
Well.
not like it's disconnected because they both see it as an option. It's just like, yeah, but that's doing nothing.
Oh well, shit happens. We'll figure it out. Yeah, so a couple of super chats here real quick before we get out of here. Well, we did the V speech already from the $2 by Daily Dose. Thank you very much.
I would do it again, but you know it's in better audio quality at the stream. You guys just want to back up and
Yeah.
listen to that one.
Listen to that one. Get $5 by Lance. As the UK and Europe currently stands, this movie is nothing but a total farce. Yeah, they didn't even blow up the parliament yet. It's kind of lame. Maybe I should do it
Well,
when
I
I'm going
mean-
over.
I think it's the important thing is to not try to tie anything that happens in a movie like this directly to
Yeah.
current day politics. You just got to kind of see the allegories in it, and you know, just try to find the truth in it where you can find it.
Absolutely.
And I think that most people can agree that totalitarian rule bad, no matter who's behind the wheel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, like we were talking a bit about that earlier. I don't know if you were listening in for that, but like it is a product of its time, plus the source material, like Alan Moore being the writer, who is obviously a progressive liberal type. Like, of course, he's going to think a particular way politically, and that's going to show in his material. But the broader
It's
point
got a
of
perspective.
the broader point of the film that I think wins over is the threat of totalitarian fascist regimes.
Oh. Stupid.
And apparently Alan Moore was not a fan of this, but I don't think he's a fan of
Yeah, he doesn't
any
like
sort of
animated movies.
film adaptation. He sort of hates the whole fucking industry. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, fine.
I don't think he's signed off on any adaptation of his work ever, or there might be one that I'm just forgetting.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
wrecked.
Hugo Weaving said something about it that I thought was cool. He respected the source material, and he said, "Look, the film and the original book are two different entities. That's the way he sees it, you know." And I think like that's
Yeah.
a good way to that's a good statement to put out there. Like, this is not the original book.
Right.
I don't.
but it's-
I don't think anyone can make the argument that like this was a movie made with any contempt for the source material, though. I mean, there are differences, but I remember it going down quite similarly. So I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone would be that pissed off by how this movie turned out, but I mean, I personally, I kind of like the movie more.
Someone brought it up in the chat earlier that the source material is meant to be sort of a more broad thematically, as like anarchism versus I don't know, fascism versus
Totalitarian.
anarchism, I suppose. Yeah. And but then this took a more sort of local approach with this sort of British American hybridization of liberalism versus conservatism. Apparently Alan Moore really didn't appreciate that, but whatever. That dude's kind of brilliant guy, but he's kind of weird and hates Hollywood and whatever. Thought it was a good movie.
Absolutely. $2 by Nick the Greek. Thank you very much. Don't lie, Mootle. You watch The Forge in the shower too. You can't prove that. Shut up.
You speak along to your lines that you just remember.
Yeah. It's kind of funny the way my shower is. I could actually put a screen on the outside and still watch stuff. I just realized that. Well, new project in the works, lads. I'll give you an update on my shower TV soon. $5 by M8566. Thank you very much. Great Forge today, guys. Well, thank you very much. It was fun to talk about the movie. Followed up by 5 gifted memberships by M8566 as well. Thank you very much. And another 5 gifted memberships by Critically Chibi right after that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's rad. Yeah, thanks for the invite, guys. This is a good movie to talk about.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate the invite.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
The dog doesn't appreciate the invite.
Nope.
And then we got one more by Joe Skyver, $5. Thank you very much. Appreciate you chatting about V for Vendetta, lads. Good media schnitzel. Schnitzel. Yeah, good. Was a good choice. That was all Mark. That was his idea. Good choice. And yeah, that's all the super chats. Thank you very much for those. Very much appreciated as always. They will all go to hookers and food, as they always do. And booze, obviously.
Nice.
Just food for me, no hookers.
Oh, boo. I'm married, I can't have hookers. But yeah, but of course, before we get out of here, Mr. John, what are you doing? What do you people find you? Link obviously down below. You know, John. What are you doing? What are you doing? Tell the peeps.
John Graham on YouTube. Yeah, I'm do some shows, RB and the Chief and Hard Justice, and I've been doing a bunch of gaming streams lately. Right now, I'm working my way through games. Those have been quite fun.
Yeah, so you've been streaming quite a lot. Good stuff.
Yeah, I do it on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays if I can manage it.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice. I think the one time you were streaming, still streaming when I got back up from bed.
Yeah.
Like after 9 hours.
So I think you're like 9 hours ahead of me, yeah. I think I was going for 8.
Yeah. I mean, I do 9-hour streams. I mean, my Halloween stream, it was a chilled stream because most people were watching people play Veilguard, which I get. But I still stream for like 9 hours.
Everybody's fucking hate playing that game, right?
My turn tomorrow. I can't. If everyone around me is starting to play that shit, I'm just like, oh man, maybe I should also give it a shot. I probably can have some fun with that.
Yeah.
So I will.
I've heard it actually plays all right, but just all the cutscenes and dialogue are just like cringe.
All the dialogue I've seen was horrendous. Like how they react to stuff. There's like actual dialogue choices that just say "oof." It's like okay.
Yeah, I saw that. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I didn't want to touch it at all, but then I saw Ass play it a bit, and Mauler's been playing it. I think he's been playing while I was streaming now and earlier. I don't know. He's been streaming for a while, or is already done. I don't fucking know.
I really do not like the combat and what I've played of it so far. I think it's floaty kind of hack and slash gameplay with almost no challenge, even on nightmare difficulty. I've not enjoyed what I've played so far.
Yeah.
I heard the puzzles are brain dead easy too, and there's way too much hand holding.
Great. Oh man, I'm gonna have a great time tomorrow. I can tell. So look out for that. But yeah, go over to John. He does fun stuff all the time. Go check it out.
Thank you very much.
Hell yeah, dude. Mark, you doing something?
Nah, I'm really just kind of focusing on Metal's Forge and and some real world things that I got to get arranged for the next phase of my life. So got to get those things organized, and then I'll probably come back and do some more gaming streams and stuff like that after that. But still have some real world stuff to figure out.
Sweet. Well, in any case, go check out the channel. There's still stuff on there you can watch that's still good. Go watch that too. Anyway, Metal, what about you? Oh, thanks for asking. That's so kind of you.
Yeah.
What am I? Well, I just said at Veilguard tomorrow. Gonna check that out. I'll do at least one stream, and then I'll probably do like I did with Outlaws, do a little poll at the end. Even though I have a feeling I know the answers to this already, but democracy, it's fun. But yeah, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I finished my Black Ops 6 campaign today. Expect the rando rant for that going up probably not tomorrow. I'm gonna stream tomorrow, probably like on Wednesday. Maybe I'll just put it up whenever. It doesn't actually matter that much when I do it, if I stream or not. So that's gonna come up soon. The next 3 weeks, the Forges will be Arcane coverage, so look out for that. I think the EFAB labs are gonna start 1 week later with the Arcane coverage. I'll be on those as well, but here in the Forge, we're gonna be 1 week ahead. Haha, so check that out.
It airs on Saturday, and we have our show on Sunday.
Exactly. So we got the advantage. Get wrecked, EFAB. Yeah. Still working on episode 5, Rings of Power. I'm over halfway through. I'll try to haul ass because I'm not around starting Thursday. My wish would be to release it on Friday, but depending on how fast the rest of the visuals go, it might be next week at some point. So no promises there, but I'm still working on it. I did not stop with it, but just, as I said multiple times, just real life work has been kicking my ass. So, after 8 hours of work, I can only do so much editing before I want to shoot myself in the face, because I realized I don't have the dexterity to do 8 hours of work on the PC and then do 8 hours of more work on the PC. My brain just turns off at some point and just do like 2 seconds every 30 minutes. And it's like, might as well just not do that.
Yeah, I've been there. It sucks.
But yeah, trying to get through this. And what else is there? I'm still going to do Darkwood streams. Darkwood is now just my comfy getaway from the badness game, because that's a nice little spooky game, and it's probably still going to be like 3 more streams, because that game is deceptively long, but I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Nice little survival horror game.
Yeah, I played a bit of that too. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I did like 15 hours of that game already, and apparently I'm not even through chapter 2 yet. Like the whole map you get onto, that's all chapter 2 apparently, so there's more after this, and I thought this was the whole game. And I've been just exploring everything, and it's been really fun. So we'll see. When's the next Dark Goon stream, Metal? Dark Goon? I don't know, probably not next week. It's probably gonna be Veilguard, and then I'll probably try to add it 2 days, and then I won't be around. So the next stream in general is probably, well, the Forge then. And then we'll see what's up after that week. Because it's a good friend's birthday, and I told him I'm going to come hang out over the weekend. And I took a long weekend, so I'm probably going to be there. Actually, I might do something. No, wait, we're doing a stream. Never mind. My brain's just all over the place. Let me check my board of the white flames, but I think that's all. So yeah, tons of content coming your way. Almost at 10k subs. Subscribe if you haven't. Get me over that thing. Remember, you'll get the Dark Souls 2 hot seat stream when I'm over at Mahler's. And that should be fun stuff indeed. We're gonna be very drunk and very mad at the game. You'll love it. But yeah, that closes us out. Any last words before we jump out of the window? I mean, go offline.
You should watch
Yeah.
Arcane.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Sure
And
thing. dude.
also, thank you, John, for coming.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
no problem, man. Happy to.
Anyway, thank you all for hanging out. Thanks, Superchats. And yeah, we'll see you all next week or tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, goodbye.
Hi, everybody. Sorry for the tech issues yet again.